Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Yo, what's up? Happy Thursday, everyone. It's August 6th. Sorry I'm a little late. We had what's so funny?
This is every week, bro.
Okay. All right.
No need to apologize. Everyone knows.
Well, over here we've got a Bible study that ran a little late because we're
nice.
fighting the good fight over here, Juan. So
Amen.
while you're done with work by 3 p.m. and you've been paving gopher tortoise holes all day, come on, we got a bookstore to run over here. But
How'd you know your mom's nickname, dude?
which one?
Go over tortoise hole.
Hmm?
I'm kidding.
Very funny.
All right, we're good. Let's get serious.
How about you guys? You guys just run the you guys just run the show tonight. All right. Well, all right. Since everyone here is from my channel and not Juan's, don't worry about that, guys. We're talking about the cross tonight. Not double crossed like Juan over here. Just kidding. But yeah. So we're talking about the cross, and you know what, guys? Team in the Philippines, just cut all that out. All right. Juan, tell your team over in Malaysia to trim that out of your stuff.
I'm sending the email right now.
All right. All right. Well, talking about the cross tonight, and a huge misconception that we want to tackle is the cross is, well, I mean, I guess you could even make the argument it is like a pagan symbol. We're going to kind of brush up against that tonight. But people say the cross is idolatry. People say it's not in the Bible, or it's, not Old Testament, right? It's kind of new. And what we're going to show here is the Bible. In the Bible, the cross was there all along. And we've got Merlin here today. So I've got the privilege of introducing Juan and Merlin for the first time. But Juan, Merlin and I have talked about the zodiac, the cross a little bit. Juan and I talk about Florida. So we're going to kind of put our brains together here and talk about some cool cross gopher holes, the real gopher holes. All right, Juan, keep your thing in your pants. All right, we don't need to sexualize Florida's most endangered species. All right, we don't need any of that.
This is the Gooner headquarters, bro. I am reporting live from the Gooner headquarters right now. The Gooner Cave, the one and only. So,
yep. That's a Gooner den if I've ever seen one. You got the low light. Got the comic book crap in the back.
That's right.
But all right. So we're talking about the cross. And all right, enough blabbing. What's up with you guys? Juan, how are you doing today?
Doing good. I was in St. Pete, or not St. Pete, Clearwater, for a couple of days before the kids hit school back up on Monday. So we're at the beach hanging out. It rained for like 2 days, but still got some time into the. I was in the water. I told Long I was in the water, and a freaking dolphin just comes up like 10 feet away from me. It was the craziest thing. Never
Dude,
seen one
that's
up.
awesome.
Yeah, never seen one that close before. People were freaking out too, like dolphin. Everyone's like running out of the water. I'm like, it's good that they're here. They're gonna fight off the sharks, right? I
Right,
mean,
right.
that's the whole thing, right? But I've been good. How you doing, bro?
Doing great, man. Thanks. Yeah, this the timing for this conversation is very synchronistic for me because I was at a church service at the beach actually, like right on the beach a week ago. And the pastor said something that I thought, in my head, I was like, what does he know? But he was like, the cross was not a holy symbol before Jesus. And, I thought, like, well, no, the cross has been around for a long, long time. Like there's Hindu stuff that predates it. So it's just like So, yeah, this, like Longo said, this is a bit, there's a lot of misconceptions about the cross and cross symbolism and, all sorts of things about it. So this is going to be a good one tonight, I hope. How you doing, Longo?
I'm doing good, man. Trying to pull up a slideshow here.
What denomination was that, Merlin?
Baptist.
Okay.
Baptist, yeah. I'm somewhere, let's just say, in the Bible Belt, so a lot of Baptists.
Yeah, and I was born and raised Pentecostal, so they get crazy. So it's like kind of the opposite, right? It's like real chill, and then Pentecostals are just jumping around. They're doing rituals with snakes and stuff. Some
Yeah,
denominations do the whole snake thing and get bit. You seen that
dude.
pastor? Was that in Florida? The pastor that died from being bit by a snake?
I don't know.
Really?
Probably many instances of that.
It was
All over.
in a reality TV show, Middlesboro, Kentucky, at a church service, and he died. Definitely, that was a rattlesnake. But again, Pentecostal service, and they do crazy stuff. And a lot of people believe a lot of crazy stuff.
Church
And
services in the South are fun, man. Like I was raised Catholic, and that's a very solemn service. And I moved down here, and all of a sudden there's like guitars in the church. The first time I saw a guitar in a church, I was like, "What's going on?" Like that's so different to like the Catholic, like no, versus down here they're jamming out for Jesus, like straight up. It's a concert in there every weekend,
Yeah. Jam band where they just rip for like 20 minutes. Like, yeah. All right. Guys, if you remember a couple months ago, I don't know, maybe a month or two ago, Merlin and I were live, and I think we brought up this video about a catfish. And I didn't know too much about the catfish, but it stuck with me. I revisited it. I've learned a little bit more about that catfish. And I thought that would be our kind of entree into this topic. Ties it all together. Florida, the Bible, the cross, nature, right? Ancient Florida. But here, so the cross in the Old Testament, pagan traditions, and nature. A little redundant there. Some people think paganism is just nature worship. That's not quite how I would define it, but so there is a catfish in Florida. I didn't even know it was in Florida before. I don't think. It's called the gaff top sail catfish, also known as the sea cat. And it has a very interesting arrangement to its skull. There's a video that we're going to watch here in a sec, but this blew my mind. What do they call it? Pareidolia, right? Seeing what you want to see. I think this takes it a step beyond that. This can't be discounted as just pareidolia. There's something to this. But all right, The legend of the crucifix fish. Of all the fishes in the sea, our Lord chose the lowly sail cat to remind us of his misery. His body on the cross is outlined. The hilt of the sword, which was plunged into his side, is clearly defined. Look at the back of the fish's bone, where the Roman shield is shown. Oh, this is a poem. Whoops. Where the Roman shield is shown. When you shake the cross, you will hear the dice being tossed for our Lord's blood-stained dress. Those who hear them will be blessed. Those who can hear them will be blessed. This is an old Florida postcard. This is actually from the Florida State Archives. This isn't some like random schizo, oh, this looks like that. I don't know if the Florida State Archives sold these, but it's in the archives now, and there's a whole series of these postcards. The legend of the blank. And most of them are native to Florida or endemic to Florida. But let's learn a little bit more about this catfish for a sec. Now, that's what the catfish skull looks like. On the left there, that's kind of painted just so you can see the components more clearly. But those are all real pictures of the skull of the sea cat. Pretty nuts. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I had no clue about this, dude.
Okay. Merlin, what do you remember us talking about last time? How did it come up?
Well, we were just, I mean, it came up just on the cross in nature, how there's on the donkey and on this animal. This animal's just
Okay.
known for having a natural cross. It looks perfect like that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it just came up because we were just doing a whole episode, a whole stream on the cross. So this was just a part of it.
Yeah. Let's watch this video here real quick. This is from Nick's Seafood Restaurant, which I think they're in Florida, but these guys are in the Gulf. This is like a Gulf fisherman, I believe. And he's going to talk about the catfish. The video is called A Little Boatside Catfish Wisdom.
Most people don't know what this is.
What is that?
That is a catfish skull
Okay.
of a catfish. But once you see this, you'll understand it. Do you see what you can see right there? Do you see the crucifix?
Yeah.
The cross of Jesus on the cross?
Yeah.
And then on the back, you see the shield of David.
Oh yeah, that's wild.
And then you can see the. Now watch this part. Okay. See,
This guy is cool. I like this guy, but if I were ripping on him, I'd say, see that? The cross, the sacred cross? Yeah, now you just smash it. You smash it to bits. I don't know if that's what I'd do with it, but
these are the rocks on the catfish's head. So watch this. See that right there? Every catfish has two rocks like that that are unique, and there's no two like it in the world.
Oh, how interesting.
And that represents the dice that were thrown upon the cloth.
That's cool.
So
Wow.
that's it. And what do you most people don't know what this is.
pretty
Whoa.
interesting. So it's kind of like folklore, around the Florida Panhandle. People tell this story to each other, father to son, fishermen to, fishermen to people who they might be, taking on a charter boat or whatever. Tour guides to tourists, right? Well, I've never heard anyone talk about this in kind of a more metaphysical, occult sense. So here we are. We're revisiting it. And like Merlin said, many people know about the donkey. The donkey has a cross on its back. Most donkeys in the world have crosses on their backs. We're going to talk about, I've got some slides on the donkey. But all right, let's learn a little bit more about this catfish because it's a pretty interesting creature. 1 sec.
That's the catfish everyone hates to catch too when you're out on the pier at Sebastian. Everyone
Is it?
always kills them. Yeah, everyone hates those things. And my friend got the back thing, the fin, right through his foot. He went to go
Ooh.
kick it off the pier, and it pierced his foot, and you got to go to the hospital because apparently you get fever and stuff. It's like a defense mechanism. But yeah, everyone hates catching those things when you go out there.
Yeah. Yeah, they're very dangerous. We're going to talk about that. So, the skull of the sail cat. Judah, well, here, we'll get to that in a sec. All right. The gaff top sail catfish, also known as the sail cat or the sea cat. It's a marine catfish, so saltwater. That's not unusual. Like there are those, I think, around the world. But when most people think of catfish, they usually think of the freshwater variety, varieties. But this is a saltwater catfish. It's native to Florida. But it ranges from Cape Cod to Brazil, mainly around the Gulf, the Caribbean, around Florida. Most abundant along the Florida Panhandle, near the Gulf there. Now I like that, right? I'm a Floridophile. So I think that's sick. The Jesus catfish lives right next to the Garden of Eden. Come on. Doesn't get
What a
better.
coincidence.
Now, they're typically around 2 pounds, 17 inches long. Juan, don't even try it. All right. Don't even try it.
It's bigger
I know
than
you're
me.
gonna no. But typically 2 pounds, 17 inches long. Can reach 10 pounds, 27 inches long. That's more of Juan's mom's size right there. That's that high end. Who's ever heard of the gooch catfish? Just reminded me of that. But all right. So like Juan mentioned, the spines on this thing are venomous, super dangerous. It can paralyze parts of your body. It's almost like a lionfish spine, you know? And some of these like cave catfish are kind of smaller. I've seen different types of catfishes that also have these barbs, like very, very venomous barbs. So it's not just this one you got to be careful of, but this one too. Here's something really cool. We'll get to this last part. We'll save that last part for a sec.
Longo,
Yeah.
do you think the fish have these defense mechanisms because they don't want to be eaten, maybe?
That's
Just
a
a
good point.
thought. Sorry, please continue.
Yeah, and these bearded fish, I'll pile on some more symbolisms here. Bearded fish, I think, maybe are more sacred. They are closer to us, to God. In some way, they represent God, the beardedness. Gods and beards go hand in hand. Everyone knows that. Wisdom and beards kind of go hand in hand. Bearded fish. Koi, koi are, I don't think they're catfish. They're like carp, right? But
Yeah.
they have like some whiskers.
I
Am I
think
wrong?
I think some do actually. Yeah, they have they look like little
Yes,
gentlemen, if you
they
will.
do, yeah. So yeah, that's something else that doesn't get brought up, but hey, there's a connection between beards and gods, whiskers. Now, with the skull and the shape, I kind of set out to say, well, what beyond just the shape, beyond just the similarity, the appearance, what links are there between this catfish and Jesus in reality? This is what I came up with. Maybe you guys got some more in the chat. Give us your sage contributions, chat. All right, so the skull of the sail cat right off the bat, if we wanted to stretch it, it's not really a stretch, but Judah, Jesus comes from the tribe of Judah. Jesus is the Lion of Judah. So Judah is symbolized by the lion, which is Leah. Jesus is the Lion of Judah. Lions are cats. Sorry. Jesus is also associated with fish heavily. No one's going to argue that. Christianity is symbolized by the fish as well. You see Christians with the fish on the back of their car.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us know the deeper secrets behind that symbol, the fish, the Vesica Pisces. Pisces, the last sign of the zodiac. Peace, all of these different words go back to Pisces. That shape is kind of a component of many other shapes, the flower of life, seed of life, all that stuff. But Jesus is symbolized by the fish. So, forgive me here, but cat and fish, hey, is there something to that? Lion, Florida also has lionfish. We don't really like those ones so much, but that might be a better name than catfish. But cat and fish, who knows? He does have that in common with Jesus. Something else that's pretty interesting. Catfishes are not kosher due to lack of scales. That could be like a dirtiness thing because they're kind of bottom feeders, but maybe God didn't want his chosen people eating this fish. And I don't know about the skulls of other similar catfish. I haven't heard or seen anything like that. But what do you guys think? Do you think of any others?
Not immediately. I mean, you made the feline connection.
All right. So yeah, there was one other huge connection. It's not exclusive to this catfish, but down at the bottom here, when I was researching this catfish, what does it have in common with Jesus? Well, they fast for over 40 days. I think it's up to like 55 days. Somewhere around there, maybe 60 days at most, somewhere in that ballpark. But well over 40 days they're capable of fasting. Not too much more than that. Close in the same ballpark. They can fast for over 40 days during oral incubation, which is when the male.
You're used to that, aren't you?
All right. I gave you a second there. I literally thought about dropping a Juan's mom joke right there, and I literally had mercy on you.
You got to be quicker than that.
And you hit me with that. Oh my god. So yeah, oral incubation. Whatever. All right, Juan beat me to it. So oral incubation is when the men catfish, hold the eggs in their mouth for whatever reason, and they don't eat during that time. So, there is maybe you could stretch that out into like a parallel with some gods who've eaten their children, or alligators, for example, also hold their young in their mouth for a time. Saturn is kind of like that. What do you guys think?
Can we get schizo? I mean, you brought up Saturn, right? He eats his children.
Yeah.
And then you have the Saturn time cube simulation theory that some people have talked about. I mean, it's probably the first episode I ever did on my podcast. And it's about essentially how the cube, right? It's worshipped everywhere. You have it in Mecca, and you have it in various places. The Tengu have it on their head, right? They inscribe things on it. And Saturn is it's got that hexagon on the top of it, and when you connect the lines in it, it forms a cube.
Yeah.
When you unfold the cube, it turns into a cross.
Yeah.
right? And it's supposed to represent materiality. And a lot of people link Saturn to the demiurge. And somehow,
Yeah.
have you ever listened? I know, right? Don't crucify me, no pun intended, but the sounds from the different planets.
Yeah.
And when you get to Saturn, it sounds like people screaming in agony,
Yeah.
almost demonic. So people speculate. Go ahead, Merlin.
No, finish what you're saying. I'm sorry. I'll say it afterwards.
People speculate that there is like a cymatic or something that's quite literally controlling our reality and is forming the hexagon on the north pole of Saturn.
Mhm.
And that Saturn is the demiurge, essentially, that we're trapped in this false matrix. You have the tetragrammaton as well. The number 4 for the Pythagoreans also symbolize like materiality and all that stuff. The cube. So there's various interpretations, and I don't know how. When we're done with the catfish, I want to bring some stuff up that I've talked about before that kind of relates to all this. But go ahead, Merlin.
Longo, would you mind throwing my screen up for just a second, please? Just because it's got
Totally.
what Juan was just talking about. But dude, what blew my mind, Juan, was when you said something like the Saturn and the eating of the children. But there's this quote in the Bible, or this verse rather in the Bible. It's a motif rather, because it's reoccurring over and over, especially in the book of Matthew. You hear it a bit in different books, but it's essentially, it goes like, "There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth."
Mm-hmm.
And it talks about, people who, it says, "The children of the kingdom shall be cast out into outer darkness, and there shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth." And that always made me think of Saturn, like people leaving, God in the center and then going out toward the outer darkness of whatever is out there, because, the essential, geocentric worldview from back in the day was like, essentially, if Earth's everything, right? Like, what's outside of Earth? Like infinite dark water, infinite cold dark water. That was also like Leviathan too. So whenever I heard that verse in the Bible, as I read through like the whole New Testament a couple years ago, and that really stuck with me. That whole the children of the kingdom shall be cast out into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. That just sounded so Saturnian to me. So sorry,
Yeah.
I'll let it there.
And it's very Gnostic. Like, you talk about what's outside of our reality, what's outside of what we can see. Well, the Gnostics believe that every single planetary sphere was a demon, essentially, right? Like a sort of demonic ruler. And they believe that every orbit was a different dimension. And in order for you to transcend to the upper pleroma, they believe you had to learn every single demon's name. And there's 7 different ones, right? The 7 different sins, the 7 different days of the week, the 7 different chakras. And in whichever one you'd fail, you'd be sent right back down into this reality and reincarnated. So you had to go through every single, like your soul had to go through every single different orbit, different dimension, learn the name of that demon to control it. But if you fell to any of the sins, whichever sin it was, you were sent right back into our reality and reincarnated. So it's, again,
Yeah.
very Gnostic, and yeah, it does get dark.
Well, that's why we like the cross here, because this connection to the cube is valid. But people, how you fill the space between these two concepts kind of says a lot about the person. The cube is the cross unfolded. To me, I love that. I applaud it. Isn't the goal to unfold the cube? To not be imprisoned in the cube, to think outside the box, right? To get outside the matrix. The cross, to me, is that unfolded cube. The cross is the technology that we need to unfold the cube, So yeah, I like this. People point it out, they say, "Oh, it's just another one of the Abrahamic death cults. It's just another one of the cube packaged in another way." I don't see it like that. People need to kind of bring a little bit more to the table than that. I think.
Yeah, and I mean, through salvation, right? Because that we talked about this a little bit. I think it was last week, where Jesus was gravitated towards the people that were demented, right? Towards the people that were imperfect in our society, and he did what? He healed them, he saved them. So I think the whole story, I mean, Jesus itself, like the whole thing is to break out, in my opinion, right? To be saved, to it, not to achieve some sort of note, and like not that sort of Gnostic way, because they did believe that. They believed that they could achieve Godheadhood or whatever you want to call it by themselves. They didn't need the church, but we need the church because it's what God's bride, right? It's the bride of Jesus. We need that. They go hand in hand. And again, the whole thing about a lot of the stories in the Bible are about waking up. Again, back to the whole Matrix, Neo, he wakes up and he starts to realize, this is all like Merlin, when you and I were talking about, like when you start to connect all the dots and go, wait a minute, this is all bullshit. It's all fake and gay. And then you have Morpheus, like, are you going to go back in, take this pill, or are you going to break out with me and take this other pill? But to take the other way, it's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. And I think that's the way of like being a Christian. Just because you're a Christian doesn't mean you're going to have a good life. No, it's not going to be an easy life. It's still going to be a hard life, but at least you have God backing you up. Right. So again.
Yeah. Now, here, guys, like we already said, a lot of people have heard of the donkey, and the donkey comes straight out of the New Testament. Jesus rode in to Jerusalem on a donkey. And ever since, now bear with me here. This is like the explanation. Ever since, the cross has been emblazoned, like tattooed into donkeys ever since. That thing right there, that shape, it goes down to the skin, and it is extremely, extremely difficult to breed out of donkeys. So the vast, vast majority of donkeys in the world have this cross. Go check for yourselves. These are 3 different donkeys.
I have donkeys and I never seen that, dude.
Well, maybe you didn't notice it.
No, yeah, I haven't, like, I wasn't looking, but now when we go back to feed them, I'm gonna check for the crosses.
Yeah, take a picture.
And-
Make sure they're not chupacabras in disguise. No
I
cross.
can't make any promises, bro.
It's like a human. It's like a human with no belly button.
Oh man, maybe I do have fake donkeys. Maybe they are chupacabras.
Here, 5-leaf clover. Juan gifted 5 one-on-one memberships.
Shout out, appreciate you, bro.
Michael Flight with 199. Appreciate that. Florida Panzer Chud. Oh my god.
Nice.
Gifted 5 Old World Florida memberships. Hell yeah. Glad he's on our side. Whitney Murphy with 9.99 says, Juan, were you oneness Pentecostal? I grew up that way. Did you ever hear anyone speak in tongues in English? By the way, Longo and Juan vibe is 300.
I don't know what oneness Pentecostal is. Again, I was born into it, but yes, I did hear people speak in tongues in English and in Spanish. And I actually, for a while, I would play. So I used to be in the worship group and I'd play guitar, and I played guitar for like 7 years at my church. And then we would also, I had a friend of mine that we would go around and play at different local churches. They'd pay us, right? So we'd play at different local churches. So I got to see a bunch of little different, the way people worship and everything. But it all comes down to the music. But yeah, I did see English, Spanish, all sorts of stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, guys, the verse here, Matthew chapter 21, verse 5, King James, of course. Behold, thy king cometh unto thee, meek and sitting upon an ass. So that's a donkey, by the way. All right. Now, this is a cool little thing, people point out, but I wish the catfish would get a little more, publicity on that. I think that's really cool. But hey, if that's going to remain like a little Florida tour guide secret, then I'm okay with that too. It's pretty cool. But all right, so since we have discussed these, examples of crosses in nature, one of them, of course, being like directly tied to the Bible. Well, one of your audio is catching a little background noise. Sorry.
Is it Merlin?
I think so. It's all better.
I'm muted, so I don't think it was me just now.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Okay, now it's good. So we've got some examples of the cross in nature, but I thought this was a good opportunity to make the case that the cross has been here all along. So that would include the Old Testament, of course. And, this isn't that revolutionary of an idea. There are many people, YouTubers, whatever, pastors, who have made the case for the cross being in the Old Testament. But they don't use some of the evidence that I thought was very compelling. So we're doing it our way, right? We're going to mention some of the stuff that they talk about. But yeah, what do you guys think about that? What's your guys' first thoughts? What's the first thought that comes to mind when you hear the cross in the Old Testament?
The brazen serpent.
Okay. Yep.
I think Tetragrammaton and the fixed signs of the zodiac.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've already chatted on that.
Yep.
Hang on.
Can we pull up? Let me pull up this picture real quick because it made
for
me
it.
think of this cathedral, La Familia Sagrada in, I forgot where it's at, but on the catfish thing, it reminds me a lot of, right? Speaking of crosses and the way things are designed, if you look at this, it kind of reminds me of that catfish. But even cathedrals, right? The way that they were built, even in we're talking, there's various books. There's one called Subtle Energies, and even in Pythagorean palaces, the way that these cathedrals and these churches and everything was built, a lot of them in the shape of a cross were built in that way in order to, I don't want to say harvest the energy, but sort of, I guess, contain the energy. This is gonna sound weird, but when the Holy Spirit is in the house, you know it, right? Like there's something to that, and there's no way you can explain it, right? It's this metaphysical sort of thing. But when you're in worship and you feel that thing come in, when you guys are locked in, where it's like, oh, and then they start hitting those nice chords, and everyone's all in unison together. There's something that comes over the church. I call that the Holy Spirit, right? Like that's something that you can't explain, but it's there. And I think a lot of these buildings are made the way they are in order to encapsulate and control that energy in a way to bring it to the front and kind of distribute it evenly across the entire building. And it's not something that you can explain unless you've experienced it.
Mm-hmm.
I agree completely, man. And this isn't my definition for the ether. This is Ken Wheeler's definition for the ether. But Ken says that the ether is the field in which all other fields are contained. So just taking that for a second, right? If you're in a church, what you're doing is you're essentially perturbing the ether with your, so like you're literally awakening the Holy Spirit by perturbing the ether in a certain way, I think, which is again that field in which the Holy Spirit is essentially, I think, anyway.
Yeah, and I guess into cymatics and the way that these buildings resonate, right? And we've seen the cymatics where they form certain shapes and letters, even letters sometimes. So I think all that has something to do with it, the way it's designed, and it's done that in that way for a reason.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now here, Juan, oh wait, that's the passion flower. Whoops. You mentioned dogwood to me, right? Was that you? Or was that Merlin?
That was me.
Merlin,
Yeah.
you mentioned dogwood. What did you hear about dogwood?
So what I heard about dogwood, I mean, there's a few, myths, Christian myths that Jesus's cross was made out of dogwood tree wood.
Mm-hmm.
And then the cross being okay, so since it was made out of wood, obviously the cross kind of looks like a tree. So the cross is symbolic of the tree, symbolic of the tree of life. There is a myth that after Jesus was crucified, the wood that was his cross sprouted and essentially became a tree. So those are all dogwood related myths. And then we can take a look at a picture in a little bit. But the flowers on a dogwood tree are actually in the shape of a cross, which is really cool. And in the center, there is like a crown of thorns type thing. So there's a lot of Jesus symbolism in the dogwood tree.
Yes. Yes. Can either of you pull up a picture of the dogwood or just get it ready?
Yeah,
we
I
can
got you.
look at that. So this is another one of those Florida postcards from that series, The Legend of the Blank. This one's dogwood. There is a legend that at the time of the crucifixion, the dogwood had been the size of the oak and other forest trees. So firm and strong was the tree that it was chosen as the timber for the cross. To be used thus for such a cruel purpose greatly distressed the tree. And Jesus, nailed upon it, sensed this, and in his gentle pity for all sorrow and suffering, said to it, because of your regret and pity for my suffering, never again shall the dogwood tree grow large enough to be used as a cross. Henceforth it shall be slender and bent and twisted, and its blossoms shall be in the form of a cross. 2 long and 2 short petals, and in the center of the outer edge of each petal there will be nail prints, brown with rust and stained with red, and in the center of the flower will be a crown of thorns, and all who see it will remember. Pretty cool.
What type of dogwood was it? Because was Jesus crucified in Oklahoma? Because dogwood trees grow across eastern North America.
No, no,
And
no. Native to Florida, Juan. Native
No,
to Florida.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Hey,
So
who knows?
who who knows, right?
Who knows? But yeah, there's the dogwood. Florida dogwood. Grows elsewhere too, but
Yeah, yeah.
lots in Florida. So yeah, there's a whole slew of these little articles. Here, let's read. Or sorry, little postcards. There's one about the passion flower. Passion of Christ, you know. So here's another one. Then we'll get to the cross. The legend of the passion flower. The 10 petals of the flower represent the 10 apostles who were present at the crucifixion. The Holy Trinity is portrayed by the 3 secondary calyx, leaf bracts. The 72 purple filaments symbolize the crown of thorns worn by Jesus, and the 3 stigmas represent Christ and the 2 thieves on the cross. Look at that. Pretty cool. Florida's a pretty cool place. All right. These grow in Florida too. We have what's it called?
We have apples that kill you if you eat them.
Dang.
Those two.
That doesn't sound very Garden of Eden, Longo. Apples that kill you.
That's why they said don't eat
Yes,
from
it
that
does.
tree.
Yes, it
Mhm.
does.
Okay, fair.
God was like, eat all these apples except for that one right there. That one will give you cancer.
Mhm.
Someone just super chatted and said dogwood is used as a pain reliever.
Whoa.
Mhm.
Interesting. Again, Jesus, what does he do? Relieve you of your pain. So there's
Yeah.
a little connection there.
There's another one.
Dogwood or Godwood?
Dude.
Dog God.
Yeah. Very nice.
Here's another one about sand dollars. There's another one about the myrtle tree. Bunch of stuff. But yeah, sand dollar. We're not going to read this whole one. But
So these are little stories of stuff in Florida that they link to like
yeah,
God and stuff.
right up my alley, dude. And they didn't do one for the gopher wood, of course. But
Right.
what?
That would be crazy if the cross is made out of gopher wood.
No.
Yo, someone just super chatted and said pull up the scientific name for dogwood, and it's cornus
Mm-hmm.
or crownus, coronus. So it's the crown.
Uh-oh.
Mm.
Kronos.
Oh,
Illuminati confirmed.
We got him, boys.
So guys, the cross. All right, we've looked at the cross in nature a little bit, but there's cross shapes all over the place. What about actual scripture, right? Well, I didn't come up with this, but this is one of the best known examples of the cross in the Old Testament. It's not that well known, but among people who look for the cross in the Old Testament, this one comes up, a lot. Now, when the Israelites are in the desert, the wilderness, they are camping night after night. They have to set up camp with their tents in different places. And much of the time, this is like a military, like a whole army moving at once, right? Setting up camp every night. And the arrangement of the tribes of Israel, where they were camped out in relation to each other, that forms a cross. It's pretty easy. Once you read it, it's clear. It makes sense. You don't have to force this. It's obvious. All right. The camp of Israel. And this is from the book of Numbers. Numbers chapter 2, verse 3. And on the east side towards the rising of the sun shall they of the standard of the camp of Judah pitch throughout their armies. Next verse. Or, skipping a couple, but next excerpt here. On the south side shall be the standard of the camp of Reuben, according to their armies. On the west side shall be the standard of the camp of Ephraim, according to their armies. The standard of the camp of Dan shall be on the north side by their armies. There you go. And when you number them out, when you count their numbers, you can, get a picture for the size, how much space each tribe, how much land each tribe needed. And it's kind of like the flower we were just looking at. Two kind of shorter ones, one at the top has the least, one at the bottom has the most. So you can interpret that, with the shape. And you get a cross. And we'll get another depiction here. The tribes of Israel camped in the shape of a cross. Even better, this proves our point that, if you're seeing a cross in this, then you're actually proving you're agreeing with the fact that the cross that we're going to point out even earlier in the Garden of Eden, this being a cross is not a precedent because it comes later, but this corroborates what we're saying because it's the exact same animals being described, exact same signs of the zodiac. So Ephraim, the bull, Taurus; Judah, the lion, Leo; Dan, the eagle, Scorpio; Reuben, the man, or water. Now, in that case, that kind of whether it's a man or water, that actually strengthens it being Aquarius, because Aquarius is either. It's not an issue that it's one or the other. Man or water is exactly how Aquarius is depicted. And also the water bearer is a man with water. So that's how it's depicted also. Tabernacle in the middle. This is something not everyone says, but you could interpret it this way. The tabernacle in the middle actually represents Christ on the cross. God speaking through that tent in the middle, or like the holiest of holies, the inner sanctum, the inner tabernacle, that kind of represents Jesus being the Word of God speaking, and him being nailed to the middle of the cross. So another cool parallel there. To me, this alone is case closed, that the cross was in the Old Testament. Whoever preserved the Old Testament through the ages maybe didn't think it was important. By the time modern Judaism comes around, they would have been actively kind of suppressing information like this. So, yeah, the cross was always there. they're just hiding it from you. No one's pointing it out to us. What do you guys think?
I want to know the astrotheological significance of those numbers, right? Because you can look at them. There's probably a lot of symbolism beyond, okay, the numbers give you the shape of a cross, but what else is going on with them? Because they're very specific and they probably don't reflect an accurate census. So what are they beyond the shape of a cross? That's kind of where I go, but I'm not sure.
Well, 108 is pretty significant. I
Yeah.
don't know about the other ones, but
Yeah.
all right. So the camp of
Real-
Israel. Go ahead, Juan.
So what you're saying, it's being occulted, because I mean, we're just reading letters on a page. We're not getting the visual representation of that. So now when you're breaking it down like this, yeah, it makes total sense. You can visualize it. Meanwhile, people are just reading it. And let's be real, when you're reading all the genealogy and all the names of all the tribes, we skip all that bullshit, right? I skip all that bullshit when it comes to all these different names, the son of such and such, and these people here. I skip all that. I just go boom. So it's right under our noses and we don't even see it. And if you go back one to the one that shows the tabernacle in the center, it's interesting because the stone at Mecca, I don't know if you know what a Beitel is, or they, the tabernacle was what, like this I don't know if I'd call it the house of God, but I guess an instrument to communicate with
Is that a bagel?
Is it Beitel?
Is that where you use a bagel as bait?
No, no. I said
that's biblical too. That's Old Testament.
what, bagels?
Yeah.
I'm sure they are. Weren't they invented by the Tengu?
The rings of Saturn. Yeah.
So a Beidel, not a bagel, maybe, is house of God. And this goes back, not to throw it off track too much, but the black stone at Mecca, where they believed it's quite literally the house of God. And again, it's a cube. So it's interesting that the one before this, it's got if you fold the cube out, it forms the cross, and at the center is the tabernacle, which is what's used to communicate with this
Mhm.
Godhead, Yahweh. Some people thought he was a demon. Some people thought whatever, this one thing. And yeah, at Mecca, they think it's right. Goes back to the time of Adam and Eve and all this stuff. The black stone that's there that they all kiss, and apparently
Mhm.
they've smeared shit on it before too, which is funny.
Oof.
Yeah.
Well, just real quick one. Did I hear you correctly that you just gloss over entire pages of the Bible?
I'm gonna keep it real when it comes to all the genealogies and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I skip that, bro. I'm gonna
Okay.
I'm gonna keep it 100.
So the guy who skips over literal Bible verses, we're trusting to check if gopher tortoises are getting the housing they need when he's developing over their
Listen,
habitat.
so damn it, Narco. The county comes out and they check, bro. They have people who check before. I can't get away with it. If I get away with it, I go to jail. Okay. So
sorry. The
there's
genealogies
procedures to this.
aren't spicy enough for you, Juan. Sorry, they aren't interesting enough.
Oh man, you're
I-
making me look bad.
I read them all. I read
Yeah.
them all.
No, I have before, but whatever.
I
who
know,
cares?
I'm just,
Isn't it like Matthew chapter 1 verse 1? It's just like a whole bunch of genealogy for that's
Skip.
like the whole
Hey,
it's
how
like
about
that?
skipping the credits in the
You know-
video game.
you know what Tamaj would say? You know what Tamaj would say? The previous owner of this bookstore. He would say, even if you're reading something that
But
is
do it in his accent.
No, I'm good. How about we do it in your accent, Juan?
Do it.
Hey, comprende. Hey, Holmes. I don't know.
That's Mexican. All right.
All right, my bad. So Tamaj would say, even if something's like too boring, too dry, it goes over your head, ingest it anyway, because it'll be mapped out in your brain for the future, you know? And things that may seem trivial like that, I don't think they're trivial, genealogies and stuff. That much of that this is the Bible we're talking about after all. I mean, it's like, forget the Da Vinci Code, that stuff's fiction, but there's a whole network of, intelligence. Like, there's a whole like brain inside the Bible. There's like a whole universe, right? There's
Mm-hmm.
all this encoded information, numbers, cross references, all this stuff. And much of those genealogies, all the words in the Bible are like nectar to our, to our nervous system. It calms us. Even if you don't know what a word means in Hebrew, it's been, it's been ironed out, tempered through the ages to a point where it's like, it resonates with our DNA. So even all these old names, we don't even know what it means. Many of those may be angelic in origin. Many of
Mhm.
those, may be encoded with something else. And hey, do I need my vitamins to taste good? No, I'm just gonna smack them down and get the nutrients in there. Something like that. So I would recommend pushing through even the driest parts of the Bible.
The real gravy with that genealogy too is that at the beginning of the New Testament, right, it lists out the genealogy and it does 14 names 3 times. 14 names, 14 names, 14 names. So with that genealogy, there is an immediate reference to pi 314 just right off the rip at the beginning of the Bible is a mathematical reference to pi.
Yeah.
Well, it makes me think, right? Because longer that this one right here, you're talking about the zodiac and stuff like that, and we're talking about the numerological aspect of the Bible, which absolutely, I think if you were to take the Hebrew gematria or the Greek, I think everything would kind of there's certain words said a certain amount of times, et cetera, et cetera. It's a code, right? They need to sort of crack. But when you start looking at it this way, at least in my experience, I've been called, I went on a Christian podcast one time and they called me a Gnostic for
Mhm.
talking about the Bible, perhaps having a hidden meaning of some sort. It's like, you don't think that they would encode it in some sort of way to send a deeper message? How you're saying that maybe the
Mhm.
soul itself is the one that is supposed to pick up on it, right? Let's get all woo woo and stuff. Like maybe it's deeper. Maybe you're supposed to just read it now and maybe 3 weeks from now it's gonna make sense to you. I've had that happen where you're reading something and you go, wait a minute, like, oh, now it all makes sense, right? Now you're connecting all the dots. And I'd be interested to see what the zodiac has as far as like in the Bible. We have the 12 disciples and everything, like, all that stuff. Like, how does it connect to the bigger picture? Is the Bible an astrological, I know there's various ways to interpret things. There's the physical, right? We have the actual historical story of all the things that happen. And then there's a metaphysical aspect of it where some people take things as allegory or stories or representation of other things. So where does it all converge together where it's part history and part metaphysical? You get what I'm saying?
Mhm. Totally. Um, Serpent on the pole we brought up. This is another one people throw out there a lot, as like a proto cross, a proto Christian event, right? Um, the serpent on the pole is how they say it in the King James. So, Numbers chapter 21. Interestingly, not that it's like super important, but this is the same. This excerpt is from the same book as the previous example. So we're not leaping too far here from one cross to the next, both in Numbers. So the serpent on the pole, and the Lord said unto Moses, make thee a fiery serpent, and set it upon a pole, and it shall come to pass that every one that is bitten, when he looketh upon it, shall live. And then later on in the New Testament, in John 3:14, hang on, John 3:14, John 3:16 is the famous one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, wait. Okay, so John 3:14, and as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up. Pretty interesting. So this pole, since, I don't know, medieval times, has, I don't want to say traditionally been depicted, but often, frequently depicted as a cross. Mostly a Tau cross. So it doesn't have that top part for the head. But some people say that's actually, some people, I'm not taking a position here, but some people say that the cross Jesus was on was probably more like that, like a Tau cross. That's what some people say. So, and you do kind of have to ask yourself, how would a serpent stay up on a straight pole, right? It's not a stripper, right? How would a serpent stay up on a straight pole unless it's like pinned on it or something? With a T shape, it makes perfect sense. You know, it can drape itself across.
The serpent on the pole definitely astrotheologically is the sun orbiting Earth and then being tethered to Polaris, the pole star. And like those verses you have there are perfect, right? Because if it says, make thee a fiery serpent, yeah, the sun, the big ball of fire in the sky, not really, even whatever it is, not a ball of fire in a
It's
vacuum,
okay. It's
certainly.
okay.
But like, that sun, that fiery serpent, it's a fire in the sky and it goes in a serpentine pattern as it
Yep.
goes back and forth from Cancer to Capricorn, serpentining around, tethered to the pole.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then, so the sun's the serpent. And then that second verse you have there just reinforces it because it says right there, as Moses lifted the serpent, the sun must be lifted. Serpent sun connection, concrete in both of those.
Yep. Yeah, Merlin, 100%. We're going to link this to astronomy. We're going to link this even more firmly to astronomy in a sec here. Also, Florida. And I know Juan's going to like it. But also, serpent on the pole. There's an obvious parallel here with the rod of Asclepius and or the caduceus. So, rod of Asclepius is like, some people say it's a mushroom. Sometimes it's like a cup or a grail. But yeah, I think that's the one with the one snake, and then the caduceus has two snakes and wings. So the rod of Asclepius is for medicine. The caduceus is supposed to be for commerce. Today, the symbol of commerce, the caduceus, has replaced the rod of Asclepius for medicine, right? So what are the implications of that? How can we interpret that? Well, profit, money, making money, greed has replaced medicine. You know what I mean? Commerce has taken it's in the driver's seat. Should be the other way around, right? Medicine should. Yeah. How do we say that more gracefully?
The prophets become the prophets, right?
Hmm.
I mean, I've been
Yeah,
told that before.
Well, yeah, and another thing about profits, commerce, a word I like to trip out on is traders. Traders. The Bach Saga explains that as there used to be a caste, like a caste system, and the issue with the caste system, the reason it kind of went away, is that the merchant class usurped the religious class and basically replaced them and pushed them down a level. Now the merchant class is on top. And in recent times, they've even put themselves above the royalty. That's an issue too. You know, the royalty is a good thing, can be a very good thing. Put it in the proper place, But so that's a Bach Saga theory about the castes and how traitor, and traits like genetic traits, how that all those words, why do they sound alike? But all right, so the serpent on the pole definitely could make a good argument that this is proto-Christian. This is, you know, a reflection of Jesus, a premonition, whatever. And Jesus, talks about serpents. Well, Juan, I thought it was pretty interesting. Many sundials use serpent imagery. And Merlin hit the nail on the head. The only thing I'd add to that is the word ecliptic. The serpent is a representation of the ecliptic as well. It is the wave form
The Ouroboros too.
of the seasons. Yeah, so there is a serpent in the sky. There's a couple serpents in the sky, dragons in the sky. But this one, from our lens down here, sundials can be associated with serpents. And one of my favorite, I don't know if that's a sundial, if there's a better word for that when it's on the side of a building, but this is Bok Tower. Juan and I love talking about Bok Tower. We've been to Bok Tower, did some shows on Bok Tower. And for those who don't know what Bok Tower is, it's kind of like the Florida version of the Georgia Guidestones a little bit. It's like the Florida Guidestones.
You think he was evil, bro? I mean, I don't know.
No, not evil. Well, hey, are the Georgia Guidestones evil? It's
They
hard
were
to
dark,
It's hard to say. Yeah, that's a good point.
very
But
Saturnian.
they could have been an earnest warning,
Yeah, man.
and someone took them out because they're too on the nose.
True.
This thing, you've got to wonder what compels someone to put all these resources into something. The Georgia Guidestones were like a crappy little like looked like a war memorial.
Yeah.
This is one of the most beautiful buildings in America, and it was built 100 years ago, allegedly, as some people say. But so yeah, Bok Tower. It is in a wonderful place called the Bok Tower Gardens and whatever. You can go there. It's in Lakeland or Lake Wales, Lakeland, one of those two.
Lake Wales.
Lake Wales. And there's so much we could say about this tower. We can only focus on so much. It has this sundial on it, and the sundial is surrounded by the signs of the zodiac. So again, we're seeing this zodiac connection with the serpent. There are messages all over. This singing tower with its adjacent sanctuary was dedicated and presented for visitation to the American people by Calvin Coolidge, President of the United States, February the 1st, 1929. Interesting. Created by a guy named Edward Bok. And
they're called sundials, by the way. That's what they call them on the
Okay.
website.
Cool. This tower is decked out with artwork, chiseled or carved into the pink granite and limestone. And it's mainly scenes from the Garden of Eden. So on the door, there is a verse by verse, or I forget, chapter by chapter, but it's basically like a scene by scene breakdown of the Garden of Eden story on the golden door, brass, bronze, but it looks pretty golden door at the front of this Bok Tower that no one's allowed in unless you take the tour or whatever. It's kind of hard to get in there. No one's allowed past a certain point. I think they take high school graduates of a local high school. I think where it used to be allowed to go to the top, but yeah, it's hard to get in there. The door, I don't have a picture, but it's covered in scenes from the Garden of Eden, and it shows Adam and Eve. You can almost interpret it like Adam and Eve in Florida, and then them getting kicked out of the Garden of Eden. Interesting, because that kind of proves our point again, what we're saying about the cross and the zodiac. Here, this thing's not letting me move.
I'm going to pull up a
think-
picture of the door.
Yeah, do it. There we go.
With all the intricate details and everything. It looks crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it is kind of like Saruman's tower.
Yeah, and Edward Bach is actually buried right in front of this door.
Mhm.
So he's out
Really?
here and then he's buried in front of the tower. I mean,
Mhm.
that's pretty.
And
He was what he was like a mogul with publishing, wasn't he? A women's magazine.
yeah. Yeah, that's what I think what he's most famous for was he ran Ladies' Home Journal. Which I always talk about. I think it was like code. I think it was like a, all right, the wives read it, but then the husbands can pick it up and they can, pick out
Decode it.
pick out the code. Yeah, like the Freemasons know what's up with the Ladies' Home Journal or something, because
Interesting.
Che Guevara, I think it was Che Guevara, used to have a radio show in. I mean, I don't think he hosted it, but he was in charge of this idea where basically they had a radio show in Cuba that was like women. It was like the same thing. It was like for women, like house life. It was like a girls' podcast today, right? Where they're chit chatting about just basic, trivial shit. So any man who heard it would just be like, all right, not listening to this, but it was actually coded information for the guerrillas, the men fighting off in the countryside.
Mhm.
They were transmitting very important information through this very trivial show for women. And because it was a show for women and it seemed so, trivial, not important, no one paid attention to it. The regime wasn't paying attention to it. So might be something there with the Ladies' Home Journal, but maybe he just really liked that stuff.
He was the one, I think he coined the term living room. He was like the guy who made up the word living room. So this guy's had like a bunch of influence on
Yeah.
people.
He was a very influential guy. And also it kind of makes me think of Ed Leedskalnin.
Mm-hmm.
Got his books right over here. He wrote a book called Magnetic Current, which was kind of on the nose. It's about magnetism, obviously. Then he wrote another book, which was called A Book in Every Home, which is not about magnetism at all. It's like social etiquette. It's like advice for young women. It's like the same type of thing. And people know that's a code. They say that's definitely a code. He's writing about dumb shit. There's some good stuff in there. Like he says women shouldn't smile with their gums. Facts. Okay. We all see those Taylor Swift fans with like the have you ever seen those memes where it's like all girls with the really big like gums that stick out when they smile? They like all like Taylor Swift and are totally white bread.
Nope.
Looking like Charlie Kirk out here. Yo, did I tell you I bought the two little booklets, the ones that you're talking about? And there's this book called How to Read His Writings, the unauthorized guide to decoding Edward Leedskalnin's work. And you're supposed to, I haven't done it because you have to cut up the books to overlay them on top of each other. And supposedly you get a code, like he encoded the work. But I have to destroy the book that I bought, right? The little pamphlets that I bought. And I don't want to do that, but yeah, there's a way apparently where you can find the code that he was trying to portray, in the Sweet 16 and all this. It's a little creepy. I mean, when you really think about it.
Yeah, he was kind of weird.
He was the OG gooner, bro. It was like gooning and moving stones. That's what he was doing all the time.
Hey man, if we want to be real, if we really want to get on his case, that little guy was like Coral Castle, it's kind of like Epstein Castle, if you ask
Yeah,
me.
bro.
A little
I'd-
bit. Not really.
I'd be. I don't want to spread slander, but I'd want to see the connection of like missing people during the time that he was there that
Mm.
maybe went missing because of oh homeboy over here, right? Maybe he was one of the greatest serial killers of all time, and we don't even know it.
You want to read this meme, Juan?
Are you excited for Taylor's wedding?
Isn't that so true? Isn't that so accurate?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really keep up with much of Taylor. I know they're crazy, that's for sure. I've seen the videos of them going after people for talking bad about their deity Taylor Swift, which is kind of creepy because it's almost like a cult.
Here, wait, one sec. All right. This meme is always like served alongside this one. Give me one sec. Tell me how true this one is too. Forgive me, people who just tuned in to hear about the cross.
Oh no.
Pretty much.
It captures an essence that is so like true. All right. All right, that's the show, guys.
That's it.
No, just kidding. All right. So Bach Tower, they've got the serpent and the rod. Basically, what I'm getting at here is this, forget the tower. The tower is cool. It's associated with the Bible and the Garden of Eden. But sundials, rods, and serpents. There's the ecliptic. There's the serpent up there. Well, down here, remember, Moses also had a pole. So it's a pole and a serpent. In Jewish Pirates of the Caribbean, shout out my new series that's dropping every week at Tuesday, new chapter of Jewish Pirates of the Caribbean. They talk about the pirate Sinan. Sinan was a Jewish pirate who worked with the Moors, the Barbary Corsairs. And he had an early version of something that we're going to talk about also, an astronomical instrument. And his crew didn't know what this astronomical instrument was. So they called it a crossbow because it looked like a crossbow. Because he'd aim it, put it up on his shoulder, aim it up at the sun. And it looked like, have you guys ever heard these legends, even in Skyrim, of people shooting an arrow into the sun?
Hmm.
This kind of gets to the heart of why we say casting a horoscope. Horse scope. I know it's horoscope, which is Horus, but it's also like Sagittarius, the archer, the bullseye, looking down the scope, crosshairs. That horse scope, the marksmanship. Fuck, what was I saying? All right, so pointing an arrow straight at the sun, the crew of this Jewish pirate's ship, they didn't know what he was using. It was like alien technology. So they just called it a crossbow, and that's what stuck. Because he didn't write his own biography. People after him did who didn't, they only heard stories. So we hear about this crossbow, this sacred, holy, magical crossbow that you shoot at you wouldn't actually shoot it, but point it at the sky, and you get information. You receive knowledge. You know your location on the planet, And when you do that, and then you turn to your crew and you tell them, all right, we're here, we're here, we're here. It would look like you just received like a heavenly message straight from the sun by pointing a weapon at it. And we're not so superstitious like that today. But that brings us to kind of our next our next mention. But I was basically saying the cross and the serpent can be used just like this, just like what we're looking at, to measure time, maybe determine your location. But all right, so this is all strengthening the case for
And
the
by the way,
zodiac. Yeah, go ahead.
Edward Leedskalnin had one of those that he made himself at the Coral Castle, and he also had that cross where you look through the hole and you see
Right.
the moon on the four quadrants. And you know, that one's super fancy right there on the one at Bok Tower, but the one that he had made was a little bit more. I mean, it's still pretty cool, but the one he made was like on a in a bowl, and you can see it and follow it, and it worked.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, here, let's move. We'll skip over to that one. Since I brought it up.
Mm.
This is the crossbow that we were hearing about. Okay. And also crossbow is called a crossbow because it looks like a cross, most of the versions. So who's ever heard of a cross staff or a Jacob's staff? Not many people, right?
Nope.
Not many people. This is a cross staff. A cross staff is it's like a predecessor to the sextant. Maybe I think the sextant may have been as old or whatever, but this was popular before the sextant became more popular. And the sextant has that more of a curved kind of shape to it. This one was shaped like a cross. It's pretty simple. And using a cross shape like this was all you needed, was all a captain or a navigator needed to determine, you know, roughly speaking, I think their latitude, you know, their distance from their last, you know, recording, their last measurement, stuff like that. And these are especially useful on a boat when you don't have any, you know, references on the horizon or landmarks or whatever. But you can use them on the land too, of course. You know, if you need that, you can use it on land. And what I'm getting at here is it possible that the Israelites were using stuff like this? And just like only 500 years ago, we have a thing just like this, a cross being confused with a crossbow, and the magical act of shooting a crossbow at the sun, you know, misinterpreted, turned into a superstition. How many different instances in the Bible could something like this have been used and then misinterpreted or recorded, remembered as a more magical event, like a serpent with a bowl on it? And I'm not stretching this too far because this thing's literally nicknamed for Jacob. And in the Wikipedia, it'll even tell you that this is not just any old Jacob, it's the Jacob, the patriarch Jacob from the Old Testament. So why him? Well, we might find out why, but this is a Jacob staff, a cross staff, possibly named for the biblical patriarch Jacob. It's also connected to St. James's pilgrim staff. So, you want to say something, Merlin?
I'm just thinking, how could that work if it's not calculating the curvature?
Whoa, dude! Come on,
You know?
man! Come on, dude!
They couldn't have got anywhere without
Wrong
that.
channel, dude.
Well, hang on. There's
My
something.
apologies, Juan.
Well, actually, yeah, it's kind of a good point.
I just saved you, Merlin. You're gonna trigger the chat right now. What are you talking about, dude? What curvature?
No,
it's
sorry,
nothing.
Juan. Sorry, Juan. We've reached critical mass. You are actually the minority, especially on this channel.
I'm not a flat earther.
Me either. Man, what?
I'd say the
I'm-
majority of people in the chat are
Flat earthers.
probably.
Yeah, they're 100% flat earthers.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
Like
the,
we can do a
we all
3-hour
get
episode.
it. We all get it. You're the minority.
No, we can do a
I'll get you the
3-hour
minority here.
episode, and they'll focus on this one part. You said there was curvature out of the 3-hour episode.
That's true. I'll make the most beautiful YouTube video that's ever graced YouTube. I'll put a month of work into it. I'll do all this shit, and it won't even remotely be about the shape of the Earth. But if there's one snippet from someone, like let's say it's my video, and I'm very careful not to say globe, and I take a 30-second snippet from someone else talking about some other theory that just kind of supports mine a little bit, and let's say, God forbid, they use the word globe, sphere, planet, any of that, Juan's absolutely right. No one gets more triggered than some of the flat earthers who use it like a gender who use it like a gender ideology. You know, it's like well, actually, that little impulse the Redditor gene. Well, actually, and I'm like that too, but well, actually, I hate that. So Juan, I'm with you. People go full artard for little trigger words. Come on. Are flat earthers the real are we really being the most open-minded people in the world if we the moment globe gets mentioned, like you know, come on.
I was just doing Merlin a solid. He's like, wait. He's making sense, but whatever.
I was just making a little joke.
Yeah.
Just a quick jab to keep the momentum going.
Yeah. Well, Juan's right. I mean, there's that super toxic type of flat earther that's just the most annoying comment on YouTube.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's a weird thing to even it's so difficult to even talk about, man.
Yeah. Well, all right. So the cross staff, how does it work? I don't know exactly, but here's from Numbers. For with my staff I passed over this Jordan. Now, later on in Hebrews, by faith, Jacob, when he was a dying, blessed both the sons of Joseph and worshipped leaning upon the top of his staff. Okay. And then on the right there, being depicted wrestling with an angel as his staff in between his feet. And yeah, so the cross staff, that's what it looks like. There's variations, but it was a cruder way of doing things. And, you know, to your point, Merlin, how kind of would this work? You have to stay really still. So that's something that the other instruments kind of account for. They help with that. You know, you don't have to keep it super duper still, but
Dare you say stationary?
mm-hmm.
I'm done.
Yep. All right, so going back, let's look at so the serpent on the pole, you know, throughout history depicted as a cross. But moving on, who's ever heard of laminin? Anybody?
Not I.
Going once, going twice. Laminin. All right. So we found the cross in the desert, in the wilderness. We found the cross, you know, with Moses. Maybe even Jacob used a type of a cross. Well, we can push this back even further. We can locate the cross at the very beginning of mankind, the creation of mankind. In fact, this is something that's present in all living creatures. Well, sorry, all mammals, I think, is what it's going to say. It's on the next slide. The laminin is part of our anatomy, biology. This is a a structure inside the human body. Inside. Go ahead, Merlin.
Is it a molecule? Like what noun is laminin? Like laminin is it's a
It's a protein.
protein.
Yeah. Laminin is a major structural glycoprotein and a key building block of the extracellular matrix that helps anchor cells, organize tissues, and guide cell behavior. It is a large cross-shaped protein complex made of 3 distinct polypeptide chains. It's found in all multicellular animals. Now, a little phonetic connection here. Laminin, Jesus on the cross. I mean, is Jesus not the Lamb of God?
Hmm.
Lamb, laminin, lamb, einen. I don't know. Laminin, something to that. And also, it looks like a plus sign. So all crosses kind of are plus signs, but
Yeah.
you guys see that. So Merlin brought up a good point before we went live. Like, you know, all these science textbook kind of diagrams of molecules and stuff, we can't always trust those. Some of them are kind of
Fake and gay.
suspect, maybe being pushed for certain reasons. On the left there is, I guess you'd call a photograph of what these look like under a microscope or some instrument. So I'm not saying that's total proof, but it's evidence that these things actually do look like crosses. It's not just in the science textbook. They do have certainly an X or a T shape to them.
Pretty cool. And like you said, Jesus is the lamb, and then it's got in, and the kingdom of heaven is within. So, Jesus always says, go within, go within. So it's doubled up there.
Let's get laminated, bro. Trying to get plastered, laminated.
Sheesh.
All right. The laminin cross. We already talked about that. So basically, that brings us back before Adam and Eve, because that's all multicellular animals. Give me 1 sec.
Oh, is it the Utes? Probably not.
Do what?
I was wondering what it was. It's his brother, probably.
Oh, that's
All right.
probably the homeless guy that
Well, let's
lives
take
in the. He's got a resident homeless guy that lives in the back of the store,
Yeah.
and he like has him do stuff for him. It's
Like
like
he's
personal secretary.
Longo has a homeless slave in the store.
Jeez, Merlin, you that gullible?
I almost had him too, bro. He was believing me. He's like, dude, what? He can do that? I was like, yeah, bro. You don't even know the half of it.
Yeah, I've got a golem.
You've never seen the back. I've seen the back of the dancing elephant, dude. It's dark.
Man. That's
Anything
the
you can
beyond.
think of, dude. He's got Nephilim bones back there. He's got catfish skulls for some reason back there. It's crazy, dude.
Damn.
Yeah. Well, all right. So we took things all the way back to the creation of all multicellular animals. If this does look like a cross, then the cross was there from the beginning. Well, we can do even better than that. All right. Adam and Eve. Now, this one's a little, all right, bear with me here. Okay. We're going off on the deep end a little bit, but Adam and Eve. The disclaimer here, okay, to keep in mind, people, in Adam's language, sound and meaning were inseparable. So just take that, take that into account with what I'm going to say here. When I hear Adam, I cannot avoid hearing Adam, like Adam up, right? Adam up. When I hear Eve, I see even. Adam up, Eve, make them even. When I hear Eden, this is a little bit more of a stretch. I see odd and even. Eden. odd and even together. Now, if that's a stretch, well, explain this. Adam is the first odd number, number 1. He's number 1. Eve is the first even number. She's number 2. In Hebrew, Eve is Hava. Hava. To have something with an L, to half it, is to cut it in half and make it even, to make 1 into 2. Just as Eve was pulled from Adam, you could make the argument that 2 is pulled from 1. Okay. And cell divisions like that, right? Speaking about cells, you want to get real trippy on this. Okay. Atom is the atom, the particle, the masculine principle, and Eve is the wave. Hava, Eva, Eve, wave, wave, Yahweh, I don't know. Something to that. Eve is the wave, Atom's the atom, the particle. So people debate about, is the universe made of particles? Is it all just waves? Well, they're both represented, I think, in Adam and Eve. What do you guys think?
I like that triangle on the painting. The triangle says Yad He Vav He,
Yeah.
and that's the tetragrammaton, which relates to the cross entirely. So, yeah.
Yep, the 4 and 3. We're going to talk about those two numbers in more depth in a sec. But since we're talking about Adam, guys, Adam is the plus sign. So when you add things, addition, that is the plus sign. Well, Adam is like a proto-Jesus. Jesus is the new Adam. They
Do you
mirror
see
each
him
other.
as the perfected Adam?
Yes, yeah. So Adam was naive. Jesus is wise, has the experience of thousands of years of mankind to work with. Adam was, like a kid almost, stumbling around. But so the plus sign, Adam being connected to Jesus, also Eve being taken from Adam's rib. Well, the blood of Jesus was taken from his side, pierced near the rib, and out spilled. You could make the argument out spilled the church, his wife. You could make that argument. So there's all these cool connections between Jesus and Adam. Some of the early Christians who may or may not have been labeled Gnostics or heretics openly professed Jesus was the reincarnation of Adam. I tend to agree with that. I think that's a pretty useful perspective.
Wait, who said that?
These early Christians, who I'm going to mess up their name, but they were either Nazarenes or one of the spin-offs of the Nazarenes who came later. Either the Ebionites or one of those groups.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And I think I heard about that from Scott Shepard. Shout out Scott Shepard. I think that's his name. Scott. Nazarene guy on YouTube. But all right. So the plus sign, it's a cross. To add things, it's like, to add is like to say yes. It's like seeing a green light. It's the affirmative, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see the negative, that's like subtracting. So Jesus, who we connect to Jupiter a fair amount, is somewhat about expansion, adding, building, right? Creating. So addition, by the way, addition, adding, Adam, come on, I don't know. It's shaped like a cross. Now, the only kind of hiccup in this explanation is that the plus sign was first recorded in 1360 AD by this guy named Nicolay. Before the plus sign, though, people in Europe wrote et or the letter P.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm. So the
But
plus.
in a
plus sign-
math sense, though, right?
Yeah, the plus sign is only 700 years old, and on the right there, I think is the earliest written record of the plus sign on the right.
That's wild.
Yeah, but et is, I think et is where we get the word add from, and you could connect that to Adam too if you really want to. But yeah, the letter P, a little bit like the what do they call that symbol? The Cairo symbol is like a P and an X combined. So the if the multiplication symbol is an X, it would make sense that if I'm arguing the T is like a cross, well, before they use the T, they use the letter P, which is 1/2 of the Cairo symbol, which is a symbol for Jesus. So who knows? This is a little bit of a stretch. I'm not expecting everyone to just like sign on with this, but taken in totality with all this other stuff, I think it's compelling.
Yeah, and like the positive negative is super simple too. Thinking about it in terms of the sun. Because Jesus again is the sun, right? So the sun rises every day, and that's why when we say yes, we nod our heads up and down like the sun. The moon goes side to side every month, going Cancer to Capricorn. So we go no, the moon's negative. And then even by the nature of their light, right? Sunlight is warmer than the shade. But the moon's the opposite. Moonlight is actually cooler than the moon's shade. So like the positive and negative of the sun and the moon is apparent just in the nature of their light, which is super fucking cool.
Well,
Oh yeah. Now, just to prove my point that the plus sign in Jesus are kind of spiritually connected at a deeper level. It's not just like, oh, this looks like that. It's such a deep connection, or a strong, unavoidable connection, that it actually led certain Jewish people, many Jewish people, to not even use the addition sign because it reminds them too much of Jesus and they think it's offensive. The Jewish
What?
plus sign. Oh yeah, you
Mhm.
never heard about that one? You didn't know
No.
that many Jewish people don't use the plus sign because it would be too Christian of them?
I mean, they're all about the plus signs, no? I mean, more and more and more, no?
Well,
That's
we'll see.
interesting.
So the Jewish plus sign. Many Jewish people use other symbols instead of the plus sign. The most common is the plus sign without the bottom. So it's kind of like a Thor's hammer. Sorry, pagans, that's another link between you and Judaism. Pagans. You use your Thor's hammer. Sorry, it's actually the Jewish plus sign. Well, one Thor's hammer, 1 equals 2. It's used in most Hebrew school books. And guys, be mature here for a second. Be mature here for a second, all right? The K word slur. If anyone knows what the K word slur is,
What is it?
Means circle.
now I'm not going to say it, Juan. The K word slur originated from these people using a circle instead of an X or a cross. They didn't want they didn't want to X boxes or X next to their name or country of origin or whatever. So they'd put circles. And because these people were drawing circles all over the place, this shape came to be associated with them. Interesting enough. So yeah. Pretty interesting. A little petty if you ask me. Just
Imagine somebody just got so mad they were drawing circle. What the fuck? And they're just like, they just created a word out of nowhere because they were drawing circles everywhere.
yeah. Yep.
Oh man.
So this brings us back to the cherubim. Kind of like Merlin pointed out that the serpent earlier was a fiery serpent. The serpent that Moses was instructed to build was a fiery serpent. Well, what else was fiery or flaming that we're going to connect to the cross. The sword that the angel, I'm using air quotes, angel was holding to defend the Garden of Eden. And I said that wrong on purpose because that's how most people say it. It's kind of like the lion and the lamb. It's actually the wolf and the lamb, and then the lion will eat straw. So the lion's in there. It's not, hang on, guys. It's not Mandela effect, all right? It's just people say it wrong. The lion's in there. You just got to wait. It's after the comma, you know? It's wolf, lamb, then lion, I believe. So just like that, in the Garden of Eden, people always say, whenever I talk about Florida and the Garden of Eden, people always say, oh, Florida can't be the Garden of Eden. Where's the angel standing around waving his flaming sword, hacking everyone's heads off, you know, defending the Garden of Eden, keeping people from coming back to the Garden of Eden? No one would live in Florida if Florida was the Garden of Eden. Well, that's not actually true. The angel, the flaming sword, number one, it's not an angel, not in the way most people think. It is cherubims in the King James Bible. Cherubims is double plural. So right there, this is not one angel with 2 feet standing there with a sword like a baseball bat. Cherubims, as we get later on, the biblical definition of cherubims is the 4 fixed signs of the zodiac: bull, lion, eagle, and only the last one is man. So what most people think of as an angel is only the last and most kind of palatable of those 4. Because when you start dressing your angels up like bull, lion, eagle hybrid creatures, well, here, I'll show you what happens. You get stuff like this. These are cherubims. These are cherubims. When you don't understand your astrology, you get volumes and volumes and millions of pages of dog shit. Science fiction dog shit from people who don't know a lick of astrology because they see 2 animals slapped together and they go, "Durr, that was clearly alien engineered, and those clearly lived alongside us." And I'm not saying they didn't, but that's clearly not that's clearly not the truer interpretation. Cherub, and by the way, these are cherubims. This is not me saying those are cherubims. These are pre-Israelite or outside of the Bible instances of cherubims outside the Bible. They are eagle, bull, lion, human composite creatures hybridized like that just for artistic or symbolism purposes. That's a cherubim. Now going back, the angel at the Garden of Eden waving a flaming sword was cherubims. So what is that flaming sword? And also the second part, the second misconception, it's not there to keep people out of the Garden of Eden. It's defending the way of the tree of life, which is a good thing. And I advocate for that everywhere, Florida, wherever. But this is not a guard dog on the Garden of Eden, keeping everyone out. It's there to defend the tree of life. Now, the way I see this, we'll read along. What do you guys think?
I think the artwork is both very cool and very important, and it kind of goes back to that tower you guys were talking about earlier, the Bach Tower.
Mhm.
Super cool, which reminds me of the pyramids, going to the Georgia Guidestones. If you think like, okay, if you're a rich person with money, what are some of the best things you could do with your money? And is building a monument to God's intelligent design not one of the better things you could do? Because to build something like the Georgia Guidestones, the pyramids, or the Bach Tower, requires an understanding of, the heavens, which is God's intelligent design. So it's almost like a wink and a nod to God saying like, hey, I see what you did up there and I respect and appreciate it. Here's my, throwing that back up at you. Here's my take on that. And that's like what these are. These cherubim, those fixed signs of the zodiac, it's showing, hey, I understand what the fixed signs are and how, yeah, they are, on disparate portions of the heavens, but together they make the fixed signs, and together they do guard, whatever, the guard of Eden, the kingdom of heaven, which is the heavens. So yeah, it's very, very important, I would say.
And what's interesting is the location of the Bach Tower. It's on the highest peninsular point of Florida, and
Right.
also it's on the Lake Wales Ridge, which the Lake Wales Ridge used to be once upon a time a chain of islands, some of the oldest, at least 1 to 2 million years old, where it could have been. I mean, I know you talk about the Garden of Eden being closer to the Florida and Georgia, the FAG border. But maybe, right, it could have been Atlantis or some other.
Yeah.
I mean, what if there was more than one Garden of Eden? We don't know that. There might have been multiple.
Dude, it makes sense. There would be fucking four different.
No, all right. No, we're not having that. Juan, you get out of here too. No, one Garden of Eden. All right, guys. Moving on.
Let him finish, Longo. Let him finish.
No, that was it. You're right. I've always wanted to say that to Longo too, because it's like, what if there's one in different sections? What if there's one for everybody all over the world?
It makes sense, right? Because I've asked Longo before, like, what are they taught? We were taught in school the Fertile Crescent. Well, maybe there's, the Gulf of America is one of them, and then over there's another one, and somewhere else there's another one.
No, Juan. It's crescent, not croissant. So sorry, Juan.
Croissant.
We only have one.
I love croissants, but yeah, Merlin, I agree with you, bro. I'm on board with you, dude. That's 100%. There's probably more than one. Whatever Longo says.
Yeah, on board with you, Merlin. Definitely not Longo, who literally made a video called "How to Find the Multiple Gardens of Eden by using the 31st latitude."
So there you go. Exactly.
Okay.
That's good stuff.
Go watch.
It's on the
my
33rd,
video.
so you got it all wrong, dude. Your math is a little bit off, but I'll teach you off air. It's okay. On the
33rd. Juan's a Freemason?
No.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
Illuminati confirmed.
You have to be an American citizen to be one of those. So
Not from a trash island. They don't accept people
right.
from the trash island.
yeah. Here. Shit, what was I just gonna show you guys? Oh yeah, here. Okay. Using the 31st parallel north.
Yeah,
to find
you got to bring it up.
the original Garden of Eden. Go watch that, guys. Oh, look at that. How many stars did I put on the map? How many Gardens of Eden did I find?
Oh wow.
Great job.
So
Longo.
Merlin stole your idea, then, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Something like that.
I'm a thief. It's true.
That's okay. I'm so influential, people forget it was even
Oh,
thinking.
okay. Here we go.
And then they feed it back to me.
Here we go.
So
All right, don't get him started, Merlin.
Longo, have you plotted those on the AE map or no?
AE map? What's
the azimuthal, the FE map.
Oh, FE map.
I mean, A is the AE azimuthal equidistant, but it's also
It wouldn't
the
work
FE
on
map.
an FE map, bro.
Oh, dang.
That map that he
Debunk.
has there is for a globe. It's just a globe laid out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, guys, go check this video out. And I found 4 Gardens of Eden, and I made the argument that there's like one for not each continent, but roughly like each realm, has its own Garden of Eden. So there's the original one, quote unquote, what people think is the original, the most popular Garden of Eden is in Iraq, near Basra, Iraq, where here we're getting a little background noise. Forgive me. The one in the Garden of Eden is where the Tigris and the Euphrates come together, right? Well, they only have 2 rivers over there. They don't have the other 4. So that's interesting. We're not going to go through the whole thing, but the Garden of Eden in Florida, we have 4 rivers, and they're on the exact same latitude, exact same parallel, 31st parallel north, precise. Now, also, Jerusalem is on the 31st parallel, and some people say Jerusalem was the Garden of Eden because Adam's buried down there, and Jesus's blood came down, during the crucifixion. Jesus's blood, according to some legends, seeped down into the earth and touched Adam's corpse, touched Adam's, skull, and it atoned, right? Like it seeped in, and almost like one of those vampire movies where like the blood wakes up the guy who's been sleeping for 1,000 years. It like quenches the thirst, it ends the struggle, right? It atones, it corrects the mistake. So yeah, the original Garden of Eden and the other one. So those are 3, Iraq, Apalachicola, Florida, and Jerusalem. The Nile River Valley is also 31 by 31. So 31 latitude, 31 longitude too. Pretty cool. But the one all the way on the right there is Mount Kailash. Mount Kailash in India or Tibet or something over there. Some fucking trash mountain, whatever.
You said it. I was thinking, I was like some shithole in India somewhere. And then you just said it out loud for me, bro. Thank you so much.
Well,
I was like, it's probably disgusting there, dude.
Now this
Oh.
place has 4 rivers, 4 sacred rivers coming down from a mountain, and it's on the 31st latitude. So a very sacred place. It is, it's nice there. I'm just joking. I just forgot what country it's in. That is basically your 4th Garden of Eden because it's a sacred place. Now, I like the Florida one because it's the most hospitable. Jerusalem's okay. I haven't been over there, but I hear it's pretty nice. Iraq, hell no. Get me out of there. Okay. Emergency exfil. All right, get me out of there.
Another
And,
shithole.
Mount Kailash, they don't even let climbers climb it because it's so haunted, I heard. Or it's so scary, sacred, they're superstitious. They don't want people climbing it. But yeah. 31, guys. And as I've said before, my attempts to squeeze the truth out of the Baskin Robbins workers have come up empty so far. So I'll let you know how that goes. Those Baskin Robbins employees are really giving me a hard time. None of them will disclose the deeper meanings of these mysteries to me.
They're holding back on you.
I'm not sure if I have to try all 31 flavors first before they bestow the hidden keys to me. But
No, there's one flavor that's within that you will taste after you're done tasting the 31. That's what they're oh.
What's that? Truffle butter. Truffle butter. Truffle butter ice cream. All right, let's move it on.
You see what you did, Merlin? We went on a side tangent.
Yeah,
because you had to bring up the 4 Garden of Eden. He had to go through every single one.
Yep. Talk shit. Talk shit. Get mogged, bro. Cool little idea, bro. I already made a whole video about it. All right, just kidding. So the zodiac. Some people say, well, all right, yeah, the zodiac, fixed signs. That's cool, but that has nothing to do with the Bible, and that has nothing to do with the Hebrews. Well, that's not true either. The Israelites used the zodiac. They thought it was important enough to literally carve and paint into their synagogues. And just so you guys know, they barely paint anything in synagogues, even back then, because they were very afraid of idolatry, very mindful of not making graven images, very mindful of not using pagan symbols or anything like that. So what the hell is this? And these aren't modern, Jews. These are like ancient in the Hellenistic period. The only thing you could really say about these is they've been Hellenized. You know, the Jews mixed with their mixed with the Greeks. And took some of their stuff.
Are you showing your screen, Longo?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that would have been nice for you to say earlier.
Sorry, I didn't want to. I didn't know. I thought you were just talking.
Sorry. Yeah, I thought you guys were seeing this too. All right, so this is the Hebrew zodiac, the Israelite zodiac, called the Mazzaroth.
Oh, I've heard that.
And these are 3 separate. I think they're each. No, the one on the left and the one on the bottom right are ancient synagogues from the Hellenic times. And yeah, they knew what the zodiac was. They used it. They even thought it was worthy of being painted on their walls or on their floors.
Is it different or is it the same?
No, it's the same. It's the Western tropical zodiac. Same animals. And they did, in fact, link these to the 12 tribes. At times, there's 14 tribes. Sometimes there's less than 12 tribes, but the ideal is 12. So same thing with disciples. There were other followers and other apostles, but ideally there's 12 disciples. Okay. Now, the cherubim, for those who don't know, if there's a table with 12 seats at it, wherever you sit, you're going to be across from someone, like directly across. Across. There's that word, across, right?
Yes.
You wanted to talk about that for a
Yeah,
second?
later. I mean, do you want to see the etymology for that word real quick since you brought it up?
Yeah, bring it up.
Throw my screen up real quick. This is just such a simple one. Is the etymology for a cross? It's so simple. In the shape of a cross. What does the sun do every day? The sun goes across the sky. And then what's so cool about that is like, okay, well, he goes east to west, north to south. Those are the directions on the cross, and it's all there. So super simple word, but there's so much in there. It's what the sun does, and it's all measured. And just a real quick astrology thing. That's what's so important about astrology is measurement first, interpretation second, and the shape of the cross is very important with that. So,
Oh yeah, and we saw how Jacob's staff or a cross staff, you can literally use a cross to measure the stars or orient yourself with the stars. As above, so below.
nice, yeah.
The cross is all the way down.
Yep.
All right, so cherub. Now we can show here the Israelites, they knew what the zodiac was. They had respect for it. They knew how to work with it. The Hebrew word for the zodiac is Mazzaroth. That is in the Bible as well. All right, so cherubim, though, what are those? Well, first, kind of get a picture of this wheel, right? The zodiac is a wheel. Now, keeping that wheel in mind, we're going to move over to this. So there's 12 signs, and amongst those 12, there's 3 modalities. The modalities are the cardinal, fixed, and the mutable signs. Cardinal basically means, beginning, starting, the first, things like that. The fixed means that it's in the middle. It's stable. It's not beginning. It's not ending. It's in the middle. It's fixed. It's like at the top of the plateau, you know. Mutable is what's ending. It's what's changing. It's like a lizard or chameleon starting to change to the next color, you know. Mutable is what's, you know, getting muted, kind of like the previous thing's coming to an end and we're about to start a new one. Mutable is like mutation too, you know, changing. But yeah. So going back to this, the zodiac, which is a wheel, right? And the wheel is a type of technology itself. You know, the wheel changed the world. Not everyone had the wheel, right? It's like a privilege.
Sadly, not all civilizations made it to the wheel.
No.
You know.
Still not, but
Some are working on it though. They're getting close.
they've got their best scientists on it. So, what are the cherubim? The modalities here, they split up the wheel. They give rhythm to the zodiac too. So there's various rhythms in the zodiac, or like polyrhythms.
Nice.
And the modalities is this 3 and a 4 going on. So the modalities, there are 3 crosses in the zodiac: the cardinal cross, the fixed cross, which is the one associated with the principal tribes of Israel, and the mutable cross. Now we're skipping around a little bit here. This explains why there were 3 crosses at Jesus' crucifixion. 3. The one in the middle is the most important, but there was 2 on the sides too. Come on, guys. That is the fixed cross. I mean, it's like, we're talking about the one in the middle here. That's
Yeah.
the one. That's the one Jesus was on. That's the golden age. That's the golden signs. The other ones, who was it? The thief and the who else? Thief and a rebel, or what was it?
Something like that. I don't know what the specifically. I thought it was 2 thieves. Who
Yeah,
was
I
Jesus
think
on the
one of
cross
them.
with?
Yeah, a thief and a robber, but I think they say one of them was like a, you know, according to tradition, one of them was a political, like he was a rebel. He almost wanted to start a rebellion against Rome. That's what I heard.
Interesting. So it's different types of misbehaving people, but they've kind of simplified it to 2 thieves over time, you think?
What does that mean? Thought you read the Bible long ago. What did I miss? Was there an earlier message?
Did you skip the genealogy part? Is that what you did? You jumped forward?
No. Explain Sub-Zero, whatever. Sub-Zero. Carry. But here we got lots of super chats here. Michael Flight with the 199 says 7 sins, 7 days. Work is sin, garden is surrender. Chungus 500 with the 499 says cross in Old Testament, I think tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil, the axis mundi. Totally. Chungus, yep, pull up scientific name for dogwood. Michael Flight with 199 says dogwood is used as a pain reliever. Matt Walton 3313 became a YouTube member. What's up, Matt? Chungus 500 with another 999. Plato's Timaeus says God made the world from a cross. He divided the whole of this composition lengthways into 2 parts and applied the center of each to the other in the form of the letter X. Ooh, I like that. I forgot that.
Doing an episode with this guy on Monday, I think.
Nice.
Nice. What's cool about the cross and the X too is both of those are about creation, and both, you know, divided into 4, right? There's 4 sides to a cross, 4 sides to an X, or 4 divisions rather. And that's the elements, and everything in creation is elemental. It's either earth, air, water, fire, and then within that, of course, the ether encompassing it all. So
Tanner by the Sea with $4.99. Today is my son's 17th birthday. Born in Palm
Happy birthday.
Beach, probably. Matt Walton with another $1.99. Appreciate it. Joe the Toe, $10, says Toey in chat.
it's Joe Rogan's face on the
That's
avatar. Dude.
actually Joe Rogan on his alt account. He watches the show, so shout out to Joe Rogan.
What do you guys know about the Walton family of New York? How did they get the contract to trade with the Spanish colonies? Fountain of Youth real? Yeah, I heard they were. I heard they were the colony's first tampon dealers, and that's how they earned their. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
It's a good
But,
business to be in.
Yeah. Fountain of Youth real? I don't know. I don't know anything about the Walton family. Sorry. Go
Like the
ask old.
Walmart.
Go ask Old World New York. Sorry, I may be from Boca Raton, but that only makes me an honorary New Yorker. So
Hey,
If you-
Merlin is somewhere up there, no?
not really.
Yeah, Long Island, New York.
Oh yeah. You're from there.
From there, yeah.
Yeah.
The esoteric Fountain of Youth, would you agree, Longo, is like raising the chrism? Or what? Like, like again, like not that I'm advocating like, oh, it's 100%, viable, but like that is the esoteric Fountain of Youth, at least. So like if you're interested in that, you
Yeah.
can read like, George Carey's God Man, the Word Made Flesh is a pretty good book on the subject.
Well, the Bible uses some variation of the term Fountain of Youth like a dozen times. It doesn't explicitly say Fountain of Youth, but it says spring of eternal waters, or stuff like that, and spring of living waters, fountain of living waters, stuff like that. But yeah, waters and eternal life go back to the Bible as well, and could be the chrism, could be like the water pressure, creating a fountain, trying to push things upward. But it could also be, back in the Garden of Eden, there's four. The Garden of Eden, the rivers in Eden are almost like living waters too, just like the River Jordan is kind of connected to living water or eternal life. There's four rivers in the Garden of Eden, so maybe that has something to do with the cross too. Four.
So really quickly, Longo, you may not know who the Walton is, but
Who are they?
apparently DeSantis does. They're the people that made Walmart, the founders
Is
of
that
Walmart.
the same? Is that the same family?
Yeah, the Waltons.
Oh,
It's
wow.
So after taking money from Walmart's heirs, Ron DeSantis and the Florida legislature helped billionaires hide their family fortunes. So even though they're from New York, they're coming to Florida to hide their money. So apparently, something to do with Florida trusts. Wasn't clear at the time who was behind the bill, which weakened transparency around private family trusts, a type of financial vehicle used by super rich families to pass their wealth from one generation to the next without paying estate or inheritance taxes, because they just pass on the trust. They change the who owns it, and there's no transaction going on, so that way they don't have to pay taxes on it. But hey, I mean, DeSantis knows who they are.
Mm-hmm.
I
It's the
respect
people from
that.
Walmart. Yep.
Yeah. Sorry, Matt. I don't know anything about the Waldens.
Richest family in the world, bro, as of 2025. I
Really?
wonder where they're from. Where you guys think they're from?
So you've heard about like the whole Walmart FEMA camp theory?
Yeah.
No.
What do you think? No, you haven't heard of this? So Walmart's they got ahead, they dominated the competition by using military depot. Like, what would the word be? They placed their stores in a way that mirrors like military depots. Basically, militaries have figured out how to resupply, different bases and stuff with the minimal amount of fuel, and get things on a kind of a familiar grid of how to get from place A to A to B, but also keeping in the minimum distances for like best fuel, best gas mileage, best time versus, I don't know, whatever. Basically, they would only put Walmarts within a distance of each other that I'm don't know enough to say this the right way, but it's basically like Walmart puts themselves in a layout that mirrors military depots. Like, what would the word be? Like, yeah, sorry, I'm fumbling
No,
this.
I think I know what you're. It's like
like
they're. Go ahead. Sorry.
they're like minimum distances to supply each other in like a day. Like anything farther than that, it would take like multiple days travel. I don't know what I'm saying here, but basically, there's like Walmart has like warehouses that supply the other stores, and the arrangement of those stores compared to the supply houses, the warehouses, it basically it's a tactic used in the military to yeah, I'm just gonna stop trying to explain it because I can't explain it, but basically
No, that makes perfect sense. They use the research that some of the people did, like, oh, this is enough distance in order to do this thing that we got to do. But that's also, this is going to sound random as fuck, but it's true. It's the reason why you're going to find a Chinese food place next to every fucking supermarket, because the supermarkets are spread out enough that they're not going to compete. So if there's a supermarket there, there's enough room, there's enough market for a Chinese food place next to it. And that's why like they're always like spaced out evenly like that. So like it's like that, right? They're kind of like using backpacking on that, research
yeah.
basically.
So I asked AI, and before I pull it up, my understanding, how I heard it, was basically like mom and pop shops don't think about 18-wheelers bringing one type of good down the highway to every corner of a state or the country. But when you're thinking like from a military mindset, it's like, yeah, we need the same type of machine gun, we need the same type of this, we need the same type of this, that, brought to every single corner. Like everything needs to be standardized. And if we can make it ourselves, even better. If as much as the government can make themselves, if it's profitable, then they will do that, right? Walmart kind of took some of those concepts and ran with them. So what I was fumbling to explain here, we'll hear what AI has to say. Walmart's connection to the military stems largely from founder Sam Walton, who served as a captain in the U.S. Army Intelligence Corps, yikes, during World War II. The organizational, logistical, and strategic principles he absorbed during his service heavily shaped how Walmart built its empire. Though in modern times, the relationship has flipped, with the U.S. military actually studying Walmart's supply chain to improve its own operations. Okay, here we go. Supply chain as a... Did I do an okay job at explaining that?
It made
Yeah,
sense.
we
to me,
knew what
man.
you were trying to say.
Yeah.
Okay. Logistics focus. Logistics is fundamentally a martial concept. The application of time and space to move material. Walmart treated its distribution network like a military supply operation. Hub and spoke clustering. This is what I was trying to say. They put these warehouses that are not even storefronts. They like scatter them throughout a place, and that ensures that they're infinitely supplied. And that location is not a storefront. They can just focus on shipping things to the other stores, keeping them stocked. Walmart placed regional distribution centers within a tight radius of stores to control flow, much like provisioning forward operating bases. Cross-docking. There's cross. Uh-oh. Talk about the cross.
Uh-oh.
Cross-docking. The practice of transferring goods directly from incoming supplier trucks to outbound store trucks without long-term warehouse storage mirrors rapid military resupply tactics. So blah, 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 blah. You get it. You know, hiring veterans to all this stuff. The point is, Walmart studied the military. You could even argue, is a creation of the military. You know, this guy was in the intelligence, arm, not just any old Joe Schmo. Now, people say that there's always been this conspiracy theory that Walmarts are FEMA camps. And I don't know about this. I could be wrong, but was Walmart one of the first stores to just say like, fuck it, we're just not going to put a ceiling in. We're just going to have it be like a warehouse.
Yeah, it was like that in Sam's Club and Costco, I think.
And now it's like half of stores don't even have ceilings.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck? Humans are like an afterthought in the shopping experience. Being a human is an afterthought. It's like, so what if there's a ceiling? You'll stare at nails, you'll stare at beams and rafters, and you'll like it. Is basically what they say. You go to Chipotle and it's like fucking, it's like dusty air conditioning vents. That's all you're looking at 90% of stores today is they don't even bother to put in like a fake ceiling or whatever. You're just staring at jagged metal and like a roof that you would never think about falling down on you until you see it with nails pointing down. You ever see those? Like all these roofs have nails pointing down. All right.
Yeah, it's ugly, and it's because of a love of money rather than a love of beauty, right?
Yeah. And it's also like, what did God take the most time to design? What did God say is his most beautiful creation? What's up? The sky, the heavens. What does man prioritize? The aisles, the candy, the shit down that you look down at, If that's why when you go to a church, you look up, you see God, you see man's attempt at impressing God. You go into a Walmart, you see man's like laziness just exemplified, Yeah, they don't need a ceiling. They'll buy the shit anyway,
The people of Walmart. You ever been on that subreddit?
Oh, it's so funny. Yeah.
Just like pictures of people.
Yeah, like the crazy. I mean, think about it. What you'd find at a Walmart at 12 o'clock at night. Nothing good.
Well, here, the Walmart thing. Walmart, people say they're FEMA camps because, I'm saying like that no ceiling thing kind of caught on, but I think Walmart was one of the first to do it. And Walmart having no ceiling, having these big hanger doors, grocery stores kind of all have that now. But Walmart, Costco, Sam's Club, they got those big hanger doors that they like, like, what are we doing here? Like, why am I walking into something that only has a fucking like truck, truck door? Like, is that a legal thing to where they don't have to like pay some type of tax for having a front door? Like, why is this building treating me like I'm a semi truck? Like. So, all right. So Walmart's, people say they're FEMA camps. They're pretending to be stores. The government props it up and pretends it's like a convenience store. But really, when shit hits the fan, they're going to rip off the mask. And those big, giant buildings with no ceiling and fucking doors that literally come down with a chain like it's the back of a motorcycle shop. Those places can flip into martial law depots, martial law camps. Now, I thought that was pretty ridiculous until you hear Walmart martial law.
Oh my god, dude.
Wall, law, wall, and law are literally backwards.
Oh, dude.
It's
That's all right.
Mart. Someone in chat said it too. Mart Law.
Yeah.
Oh my
Walmart.
gosh, dude.
Tell me that's not fucking crazy. Martial law, Walmart.
No, I mean, good luck trying to get me in there. I mean, you're not getting me in,
Same.
bro.
I'll go live in the woods like a fucking druid, bro.
Yeah, bro. We live in Florida. They're not. They're trust me. They're not gonna come a knocking on my door, dude. They're not coming to knock on anyone's door here in Florida. You can do that shit in New York, maybe, or California, some shithole like New York or California, but not here in Florida. They can knock all they want. I'll go to a Publix.
Juan, all they gotta do is Juan, all they gotta do is wait a couple of days and then slap down some rice and beans on the floor and you'll come running. All right.
Maybe. You gotta throw the chicken in there too, bro.
Longo,
Maybe-
someone in chat.
Maybe forgive me here. Maybe if they stapled up a picture of my mom to the door, Juan would be in there and Juan would be in there in no time.
You said it, not me.
Well, hey, it's all right.
She's a nice lady. She's a nice lady.
What's up, Merlin?
Oh, someone in chat. Walton Walden.
Walled in. That's wow.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
Walton guy reminds me sort of like L. Ron Hubbard, where he was in the Navy. Was he actually a spy in the Navy or something, or no? He was like probably a nobody in the Navy, no? That's why he role played being in the Navy the
L.
rest of his
Ron
life.
Hubbard.
L. Ron Hubbard. He was in the Navy. Yeah, he was in charge of like a fleet, and then he embarrassed himself and got demoted.
Like, so he was legit up there in the Navy, right?
He was a captain of a ship, I believe.
Oh, okay. Just again, Walton being in the, in the Army, almost like a plant. Like these people are put in these places to kind of grow, and just behind the scenes, they're being controlled by the government, right? I mean, I'm saying there's a possibility it could be true. Who knows?
He was given command of a patrol boat. I'm getting his rank. He's a lieutenant. Okay. Not nothing.
A patrol boat, like one of the little ones, like the inflatable ones that you
Yeah, the
just
little ones.
like the
Yeah, I was
Coast
wrong.
Guard stopping all the Cubans from coming over and stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Here, let's move on. We got a little bit to get through here. The modalities we talked about. There's 3 crosses in the zodiac. The fixed cross is the most important. But with the modalities, with the different crosses, you get the number 3 and the number 4, which gives us most of the other divine numbers. 3 plus 4 is 7. 3 times 4 is 12. So 7 and 12, they're like the 2 most sacred numbers, according to me. Also, side note, you ever notice that crucifixion is spelt with an X? How many other words have an X instead of a T or an S or whatever?
Mhm.
Crucifixion with an X. Pretty cool. All right. The fixed cross, if we get rid of the others, just to make it easy to follow, the fixed cross, you're skipping 2 signs. You're skipping 2 seats at that table with 12 chairs, and you're getting a cross, right? If there's 12 people at a table and you say, all right, you guys all stand up, and only the 4 at the cardinal points or the fixed points of this table are remaining, you'll have a cross. So there's another depiction, or you can see the difference. And the 4 gospels, guys, in addition to the cherubims, the 4 gospels are traditionally associated with 4 cherubims: Matthew the man, Mark the lion, Luke the bull, John the eagle. Now, if you've ever gone to an Orthodox church, it's not all of them, but a lot of them have these 4, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, in the 4 different directions of the church or the cathedral. You'll have one in the east, one in the west, one in the north, one in the south. Just like the tribes of Israel camped in the wilderness. So 4 Gospels. So we're bridging the gap here between Old Testament, New Testament, the 4 cherubims, and the flaming sword we touched on. But what exactly is the flaming sword? Genesis chapter 3, verse 24. And he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubims, and a flaming sword which turned every way, to keep the way of the tree of life. Now, I'm clearly, if you look at that artwork, I'm not the first person to think the flaming sword is a cross. I don't know if they even had a word for cross way back then, but most swords look like a cross. Same arrangement, same shape. Could the flaming sword be a cross? Swords are cross-shaped. Some great artists agree. And this sword, which turned every way, well, the zodiac turns every way. It's constantly turning. It never rests. It's like a lighthouse. It's like the eye of Sauron, looking in every direction. And when you go over to Psalms and read Psalms 19, it says, the heavens, the zodiac, it's like language, it's like light, it's like information, being spread across the world, like a lighthouse almost. So, in my personal interpretation of the flaming sword is this is the first time that Adam and Eve feel the seasons. Because when Adam and Eve are kicked out of the garden, they're also told, yeah, you guys have to work for your food now. In the Garden of Eden, they didn't have to work for their food. It's like they're just picking mangoes all day, almost like a monkey.
Oranges.
There's no hot and cold. It's probably pretty warm, but there's no cold. There's no ups and downs. There's no storms. There's nothing to kind of shake them up and force them to rely on technology or to innovate. So when God kicks them out of the Garden of Eden, I think this is backed up by Scripture, that he tweaks the conditions of the universe, the heavens, or he tweaks the weather to kind of. It's like when you go from a video game from like easy to hard difficulty. You switch the difficulty and some of the conditions of the game change to push you to work harder. I believe Adam and Eve had the weather turned on. And I think this flaming sword is basically the heavens, the zodiac's not just signs anymore, signs and seasons like it said in Genesis. It's actually coming down and they're feeling the effects of it. And I think that when they leave the Garden of Eden, they're introduced to the changing year, the year that's hot, then cold, then dry, then wet, all these, it's never resting. I don't know. I know it's kind of a stretch, but I think the flaming sword is the fixed cross in the zodiac, spinning around and around and never letting them get the same conditions twice in a row. Never letting them get more than 4 months of the same. It's almost like how God, when in the Tower of Babel, when they get too close to heaven, he changes their language, right? He scrambles their language, and that's like a internal program to kind of keep the same problem prevent the same problem from happening again. I don't know. I think that there's a connection here between the flaming sword, the 4 fixed signs of the zodiac, which are the stable, fixed, maybe you could argue are the more advantageous times for planting, or harvesting, or maybe just observing because it's in the middle of the seasons. The start and the end of the seasons are a little bit violent, a little bit volatile. So the fixed signs, I've also argued, are the golden ages. That there's not just one chunk of a golden age, that there's divisions between the golden ages. That's why these 4 animals, the cherubim, are the 4 animals most likely to be painted gold in ancient times, or to be cast out of some metal and worshipped as an idol too. I think they kind of represent the golden ages when things get really nice, and maybe things are too nice. We kind of drift away from the way. Maybe that might be a symptom of the golden age, and why there has to be non-golden ages, right? The rising and the up and down. So all that to say, the flaming sword, I don't think it's a weapon. I don't think this is a weapon meant to kill people trying to get back into the Garden of Eden. I think this is a cross, a sword. Kind of looks like the sun wheel, kind of looks like the symbol of the zodiac there on the right. That I think, the heavens and the signs and the stars existed before Adam and Eve left the garden, but I don't think they felt them. I don't think they bothered. They were burdened by the seasons until they left the Garden of Eden. So, who knows? Ooh, I like this. Flamingos.
Yeah, I was about to pull that up. Florida edition.
I like that. But, if we want to get real literal too, maybe the Bermuda Triangle's the flaming sword. I don't fucking know.
Mhm.
Maybe there is a thing keeping people in and out.
I mean, the direction east is obviously extremely significant astrologically because that's whatever is rising on the horizon, right? The west isn't rising, the east is rising. So that's just more testament to, okay, this being about something in the sky, just because the east is so significant. That's where all the lights come from, which is why people look toward the east for illumination, because that's where the sun rises.
Mhm.
So yeah, that totally makes sense to me. The astro-theological, zodiacal interpretation of it. And then didn't Jesus, the son, have a sword too? So
I forget if Jesus had a sword, but he tells his disciples to go out and sell everything they own in order to buy a sword.
that was it. Thank you.
Okay, Christian astrotheology. I didn't want to do this at the beginning because Merlin, I'm sure you feel the same way. A lot of the Christian astrotheology is just like the lowest hanging fruit. It's like you watched Zeitgeist once and then just ran with it, People don't really check this stuff always. But we'll just run through some of the obvious ones. I'm sure Merlin has some more to add to the list. 3 magi, wise men, the 3 central stars of Orion's belt, the sun with an O and the sun with a U. Star in the east is Sirius. 12 disciples represent the 12 signs, also the 12 tribes. Paul and Peter, this one's a little more out there. Okay, not too many people talk about this one. But Paul and Peter, the 2 real kind of fathers of the church. Paul and Peter or Apollo and Jupiter? I don't know.
Oh, nice.
Those are some pretty significant figures there. Apollo and Peter, and this is Roman times. They are interested in they're kind of grafting pagans into Christianity. There might be something to that. Paul, Apollo, Peter, and Jupiter. Easter, and again, these aren't necessarily the Christmas isn't totally biblical, but Easter on the spring equinox, roughly speaking, Christmas on the winter solstice, roughly speaking. Yeah, Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur, one of those is near the fall equinox. But yeah, so there are these obvious connections with astrology. The cross is not a huge one that's talked about. We talked about the cross staff, talked about that. The Southern Crux, I didn't get to put much information down on this one, but people who've seen Zeitgeist, they usually associate the cross with the Southern Crux, this constellation. Now, the only fact that I wrote down here, Southern Crux, apparently, from what I saw, it's the smallest of the 88 modern constellations. Anything we want to say about the Southern Crux before we move on?
Not really. It's tough to verify that stuff because, like you were saying, the whole astrotheology behind the Southern Cross is that the sun sets on the cross and dies on the cross during the winter solstice. Like Longo said, that was in Zeitgeist. Jordan Maxwell speaks about that all the time. But is it actually happening to the degree that it is said to be when the mythology, was different with the different, precession of the equinoxes, 2,000 years ago? It's tough to really tell. So, but the Southern Cross is allegedly significant with the winter solstice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, apparently it is prominent. This constellation is prominent at the time of the winter solstice. And according to the Zeitgeist kind of theory, the 3 stars of Orion's belt loosely point to Sirius. And if you kind of follow that trajectory, it leads you to the point on the horizon where the sun rises on the winter solstice. All right. But again, I don't know if that's true because people were saying, oh, the sun isn't actually on the constellation. It's just near the constellation. The sun doesn't actually stay still for 3 days. It just has a undetectable increase or decrease to its like daily trajectory. For 3 days, it's hard to tell if it's increasing or taking more or less space in the sky.
Yeah.
But after 3 days, it becomes obvious that, okay, yes, it is, So now, last part, just want to run through some pagan cultures here who used the cross in various ways. And of course, we're going to start off with Florida here. Maybe we should have done this at the beginning, but would it surprise you to hear that ancient Floridians used the cross?
It would not.
On the left here, this is from Crystal River. Now, some people say this is a Maya symbol. There's a whole community who tries to prove that the Mayans came to Crystal River, Florida, because of a couple artifacts and stuff. But on the right there, that's more of almost like a sun wheel type thing. I think that had a use too. It was almost like a fishing rod. That thing you could it's like a gear for like wrapping fishing line on. I think they'd use things like that. And then the one on the bottom right, I think, is just a gorget. But all right, so that's Florida, and that cross looks like a Templar cross. It's not just any old 4-sided shape.
And then look at that; those little circles. Total, like it gives it a 12 completion, right? The cross, then the 8 circles.
Mm-hmm. Moving on, the British Isles. Okay, pre-Christian Celtic people had the cross. The one on the bottom right there, it's debated whether that's pre-Christian or not. But symbols like that, were in Europe before Christianity. Now moving on, this is the Maya. And on the left there, that's almost like a tree of life type thing. But it's commonly called the Maya cross. The Maya cross. It's like a tree, cross, someone on either side. There's like a phoenix or a peacock type thing. Now on the bottom right there, that one looks like a person on a cross. It's like a person on a pillar. And in the full picture, there's actually 2 people on that pillar. There's a guy on top of him. But they're like totally like pinned down on a cross. It's pretty cool. And then also pyramids. People forget from the top down. The pyramids, the staircases on the pyramids form this cross shape. So people have been, hey, I'm not into the whole blood sacrifice thing, but if Jesus was sacrificed in the middle of a cross, and the Maya, if you're the gods and you're looking down on this, the Maya are sacrificing people at the top of this shape, which is also in the middle of a cross. Pretty
The
interesting.
cube. It's the cube worship with the Saturn. It's very Saturnian,
That too.
very dark. You know.
Yeah. Now the Bible says not to use steps.
Mhm.
It does not promote pyramids or stone monuments like this. It's or stone complexes like this. The Bible says to use earth, build earthen mounds, and to use ramps, no stairs. So, moving on, the Norse, the Viking, they're pretty well known for the Thor's hammer, right? Believe it or not, that we'll get to that. Bottom left there, what does that look like to you guys?
A
Bottom
mirror?
Or the left side? That's a Bronze Age like piece of jewelry or something weird. That's like a piece of amber or some weird stone in the middle, and there's a cross behind it. And it let the light come through. That thing's from the Bronze Age, allegedly. Thousands of years old. Looks like some weird sci-fi thing or something out of Skyrim. And then on the top right there, that's the T rune for T. It's called Tiwaz. It's associated with Mars, of course. That's the letter T. Yeah, Merlin?
I want to pop in for a second. I'm sorry. This is like, it's getting near the end of the night. This isn't quite schizo mode, but it's like something I've been thinking about for a while.
It's
Do you
schizo.
sun gaze, or like, like, do you I look at the sun, right? I try and look at the sun whenever I can.
Yeah.
And when I can, right, like I look at the sun, it's too bright, I'll close my eyes, and you can like, look at the sun with your eyes closed, you still see a little bit of light, right? I don't know what shape you guys see, but typically when I squint looking at the sun, I see the shape of a cross.
Mhm.
If you're listening, just like let me know what you think about that, because like I legit, when I look at the sun and I have to squint to see it, like the light just it goes in the shape of a cross for some reason.
Yeah. It's like lens flare.
Yeah, like
Lens
natural
flare.
though.
Yeah, glare or lens flare. Often X-shaped, usually X-shaped, but in certain instances, you actually see in movies, like where they have multiple lenses or something, you'll actually see hexagon shapes.
Mm.
Hexagon shapes. So that kind of, it's not really my thing, but when people say like, oh, Saturn is behind the sun, or Saturn is the old sun, or there's a black sun behind the sun we see, right? When I see that kind of hexagonal lens flare, that makes me think, maybe there's something to that. The bottom right here, this is from Denmark. Old, ancient, pre-Christian sun wheel, zodiac wheel symbol. Now the Thor's hammer. I already know we're going to have some people talking about the Thor's hammer in the comments. Okay. The Thor's hammer is post-Christian. So I don't want to hear any of that nonsense, all right? Thor's hammer, as we know it today, this distinct shape as like a jewelry piece, is way older than Christianity. Sorry, way newer, way more recent than Christianity. I thought that was interesting. I had assumed it was always like way, way, way older. Now there are similar shapes that are older because hammers existed, through all of history back then. But this specific Thor's hammer shape, according to the, so take it with a grain of salt, according to the experts, is much newer than Christianity. only showed up later.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right, Carl. All right. Yeah. We get it. You hate the Bible, you hate Jesus, whatever. It has to be older because what would you be left with if it wasn't? But all right. Hey, I'm into syncretizing as much as we can, but all right. Yeah. What did I say? Hammers and axes are very old. This shape, though, I don't know. Give me some archaeological evidence.
We trust
All
the
right,
experts
Carl.
here.
Whose page is Carl on? Mine?
Is that my page? That is
that
my
mine?
page. Yeah.
That is your page.
That is my page.
God, what I would do to be able to just
Put him in timeout. You want to put him in timeout?
I don't know.
He's been dunking on you all night, bro.
No, Dunkin' Donuts more like. Let's see what he looks like. I bet he's most here. No offense.
I bet he's way
Carl.
more handsome than you, bro.
Doubt it. But Thor's hammer experts. I think I said this both to you guys off air. Thor's hammer experts. Why are they always like fat neck beards in polyamorous relationships?
Oh, here he goes, Merlin. Here he goes, dude.
Why are they always so fat and feminine? Why do they always have like satchels and like pouches? Like, why are they always at Renaissance fairs? Why are the Thor's hammer guys? Because Thor's hammer is supposed to be like, yeah, Thor's hammer, badass, heavy metal. Why is it always dudes whose girlfriends have other boyfriends? Why is it always dudes with neck beards? Why is it always dudes begging for free tattoos from,
All of Thor's hammer, right?
everyone knows exactly what I'm talking about. You see the Thor's hammer and you're like, oh, it must be a tough guy. Then you see the person and it's like, whoa, fully neck beard. It's like always a neck beard. It's like always wispy black hair, wearing black at GameStop. Mom's
You're gonna
credit
make him
card.
unsub for my channel, bro.
Why? I don't. Oh, please, Juan. As if I didn't give you 29,000.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
He made you who you are.
Here we go. Don't
you
get
can-
him started.
I think you can afford to lose a few. No one gets me more. I don't know. No one gets me more like
Fired up.
not
than a neck
fired up.
beard,
I mean,
right?
it's hilarious.
Those
it's
fucking neck beards.
It's literally hilarious when I hear anything from pagans on the internet, and then you see them in real life. Oh my god! I mean, number one, the stench. Number two, the terrible posture, the black eyes, the beady eyes, the wispiness, the lack. I mean, that's coming from me. All right. I mean, I'm not Mr. Gillette over here, but if you want to see the most girly, wispiest, catfish-looking beard you've ever seen, go look for a Thor's hammer, and you'll find him. All right. If you want to see the most polyamorous,
Have a
hentai
Thor's hammer, bro.
obsessed,
You talking shit?
and those are just the ones who are like LARPing. Let's be real. They're all LARPing, the experts. The ones who actually do European paganism, congrats. You're pretty much just a rabbi. You're pretty much just another voodoo priest sacrificing animals in the woods. Like, congrats. You take it all the way and you really know your stuff. You really know your European paganism. You're actually an expert. Congrats. You're a witch and you're going to burn in hell. You got blood on your hands, the blood of the innocent. It's disgusting. It's hilarious. I mean, these people think they're tough. They think they're ancient. Most actually
dude,
more recent than Christianity. Yeah.
the Thor, he's hacking into the
Alright.
mainframe, bro. He's trying to take you down right now.
He's getting DDoSed by the pagans.
I mean, everyone knows I'm right. Everyone knows I'm right about people with the Thor's hammers. Like maybe 1 out of a million is actually like buff and likes Viking, is like an actual Viking. 99% of the time, it's polyamorous dudes who play Magic the Gathering.
Hey, what's wrong with Magic the Gathering, dude? Come on, man. You're hitting too close to home, all right?
Yeah. And the only thing that gets them up on their feet and away from the Dunkin' Donuts is when you tell them paganism's gay and fake. Then you see some pep in their step. Then you see them burning some calories. Nah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So everyone knows I'm right about that. It's evident. Mm-hmm.
Did you get it off you're good now, dude? You got it off your chest?
Oh, I'm good. Yeah, man. It's amusing. Thor's hammer. Sorry. The earliest definitive depictions of Thor's hammer are Viking Age jewelry pendants and pictorial runestones, specifically dating from the 9th to 10th century CE, while Scandinavian Bronze Age rock carvings show figures holding axe or hammer-like symbols that some scholars propose as religious precursors. They are not definitively tied to Thor. So yeah, hammers are a thing. Axes are a thing. Those go all the way back. Not this shape. Not the specific Thor's hammer association. I mean, this isn't me coming up with this. Yeah, it's like probably the Google AI search result. But that's all you have. That's all you have. There is no deeper, there is no massive libraries of ancient, rich, Germanic, pagan wisdom. Most of it was compiled by Christians because most of you guys couldn't even read or write. Yeah, you had runes. Yeah, they're pretty cool. But most of them couldn't even read or write until Christianity brought that. And Christians felt the need to write a lot of this stuff down. Maybe that ruined some of it, believe it or not, because they're oral traditions, right? But whatever. So it's a bunch of nonsense.
Should we start calling the Vikings Vikangs?
The Vikings.
The we was Vikings and shit. Yo, so I mean, I think they won at the end of the day because we have Thor's Day, we have Freya's Day, we have. I mean, is that what other days of the week are named after?
Juan, do you know what the most universal pagan practice is?
No.
Converting to Christianity. That's how we got to where we are today. So there you are. That's the one thing they all have.
Slam dunk. That and neck beards, right?
Yeah. Yep. Pagans have more neck beards for some reason. Go to a church, go to any church of any denomination. For some reason, you'll see the least neck beards. When you go to a paganism gathering, you'll see an amount of neck beards on par with like a video game, I don't know, tournament, you know? I mean, people know what I'm talking about.
Dude, you've got to do an old world Florida undercover Dr. Longo infiltrates a pagan event just to substantiate.
No, they'll spot him
claims.
from a mile away. They've got the hit out on him, dude. They'll spot him.
The best. Do tell us how the Christians stole pagan holidays. Tell us why paganism has a monopoly on certain days of the year. Tell us which traditions those pagans stole it from. Tell us who owns the sky, who owns the seasons. Nobody. And if anybody does, it's God. Okay? So sorry. You can cling desperately and say, no, this was my birthday first. You stole my birthday. Suck it. Who cares? There's only 365 days. And you're wrong. Most of those, Christian, for example, is not even biblical. Christmas. So, wrong. Try again. Retard.
Gotta make sure I shave my neck next time I go see Longo. I'm gonna call it a neck beard over at the Dancing Elephant.
Wouldn't be good.
No, it would not be a good look.
Hey, I'm not okay.
I
Yeah.
didn't shave today either, so I'm quite neck beardy today.
Go to the next slide, bro.
Next slide. Yeah, so this is the Middle East, pre-Israelite Middle East. You've got the cross. You've even got what looks like the Templar cross. And these guys, I forget if they're Assyrian or Akkadian or whatever, but these guys are depicted alongside cherubim as well. So they've got the cherubim all over these temples. They've got this pretty nice cross. Templar cross looks like. And on the right there's some more. Hey, we're trying to toss a bone here to the pagans. We're trying to toss an olive branch to the pagans, and all they do is fucking spit venom back in our face. Like these people are depraved. They just want to sacrifice goats. If the goats are lucky, they'll probably do other things to them. But it's literally European paganism is such an embarrassment to Europe. Am I not right? Like dressing up like beavers and like bear claw gods. You're
All I
welcome.
got was neck beards, Walmart FEMA conspiracy.
That's what you get. That's what people. That's what the people come for.
Oh my God. Oh, are they
Mhm.
are pagans furries too? Is that it?
They are, yeah. The one of the hardest times I've ever laughed is when I saw the tongue sahur meme about how pagans just worship like memes basically. But yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and
Um,
go find a pagan and ask them you can be like, all right, our practices are silly, but what do you guys do? Number one, 99% of them don't do anything. They just call themselves pagan. They say, well, I take walks and I connect to nature, and I think Freya and Thor are parts of our psyche that need to be nourished. And no, you don't do jack shit. It's all theoretical. It's all like from books that you're looking at. These people are just sick in the head. It's like a counterculture thing. They're just obsessed with being against the grain. But
Are they just hot topic kids who grew up?
yep, 100%. So here's the Inca cross of the Andes.
Daddy, chill.
Yep.
just chill out, dude.
Got Egypt. Juan, stay out of this, all right? You and the Puerto Ricans can debate the old Puerto Rican gods. Okay, keep this between me and the fucking white pagans.
I
all right?
I believe in you, dude.
All right, this is our
I'm
beef.
rooting for you. I'm rooting
right.
for you 100%. I love to see it. I love
Thanks.
to see it.
Egypt, the cross, the Ankh, pretty connected to the cross. On the top right there, they do have like a hieroglyph symbol that's a cross in a circle. Makes sense. And then the mummies, the pharaohs, did you know that crossing your hands like this is an ancient Christian greeting? It was like an ancient sign that you were a Christian to go like that.
Interesting.
Make the sign of the cross, to do this was like a fraternity handshake to let people know you're a Christian, secretly. You could make the symbol of the cross. Doing that too, same thing. But doing this was another way of crossing. So, mummies.
I do that at the medieval festivals that I go to.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I do that all the time.
You do that at the
Yeah.
You do that when they're dropping you down the water park tube with all your other Puerto Rican
At Wet and Wild, dude.
water park. You ever see that South Park episode? Minorities.
No.
All right, never mind. China.
China.
So that symbol on the left there, I think they call it the Lu or the Li or Lu symbol. It's like a cross, kind of. Top right, many Chinese coins used this arrangement, and the arrangement is considered like a good luck or like a feng shui thing. And this kind of reminds me, like Merlin was saying, Yahweh is also kind of like, or the tetragrammaton, the 4 letters, is also kind of like the cross and the fixed cross, where, yeah, why 4? You know, 1 for each corner, 1 for each branch.
Yep. And it's so cool because it's like Trinitarian and then quadrinitarian at the same time, you know?
Mm-hmm. Shout out John D. And some of these feng shui charts down there in the bottom right, you'll often see them in, you know, like a cross formation. The feng shui thing is all about being oriented to northeast, southwest. So the cross is kind of baked in some ways. And of course, the Southwest United States. I believe that's the flag of Nevada or New Mexico. New Mexico, I think, is that flag. It's like a Native American flag. But yeah.
It looks like Wilson on the bottom right.
Oh yeah. The Castaway movie.
Volleyball, yeah.
Yeah, it is like that. It is. All right, guys. So yeah, we showed the cross was there since the very beginning. It's in the Bible all the way through. Just takes a little bit of kind of interpretation, a little bit of imagination. And we talked about how it's in pagan traditions, how it's in nature, the human body a little bit. What else we got? Juan?
I wanted to bring this one up, but I thought you might have had it. But the early Hebrew alphabet, the last letter is a T, the Taw,
Ooh.
and it started off as this, right? And obviously, since the cross is too antiseptic, then they looks like they changed it. But the Tav, and here's different versions: Egyptian, Hebrew, Phoenician. Just something I wanted to bring up.
Yeah,
You had it, but
no, that's good. Yeah, I didn't know that. It's the last letter, or it was.
yeah, it is it's the Hebrew alphabet has 22 letters.
That's
It's
cool.
the last letter.
So yeah, Jesus associated with Pisces, the last sign of the zodiac.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's something to that, you know, beginning and the end. But yeah, guys, talked about the cross. Thanks for staying open-minded, everyone. Pagans, just keep breathing, I guess. Just hang in there. Everything will get better.
Learn about the cross, the FEMA camps, neck beards.
Yeah.
Thor's hammer. It was good. It was good. You did good, bro. I'm proud of you.
Shall yeah, man. All right, guys. Make sure you go subscribe to our co-hosts here. We're all co-hosts. Make sure to go subscribe to Juan on Juan podcast, tjojp.com. He's got a couple one major interview you guys should go check out, but you've been putting out some content too. Yeah, guys, check out the Mystery Boys. That's what Juan was on. Your Mom's House Studios. Big show, big opportunity for Juan there, guys.
Sweet.
Go check them out. Merlin, guys, go subscribe to Wise Wizard Merlin on YouTube. Wise with a Z.
Yeah.
Right? Wise with a Z. And great astrology content there. And on those two channels, you won't have to deal with the
neck beards.
Anti-pagan rants. You won't have to deal with but All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Hope you dug the catfish part, especially. I thought that was fascinating. And going on Kerp, yes, I did Kurt Metzger's show. I'll be on. No one's gonna watch this. It doesn't matter. It's not gonna get back to him. It was okay. It was all right. It's not like it wasn't the best show I've ever done. It was a difficult show.
We're still live, dude.
I don't give a shit. So I like Kurt. His stuff's good, but you know,
That'll be
Could-
out what this week?
yeah, something like that. It could have gone better. I'll just say that. We didn't talk about Florida that much. There, how about that? We didn't even talk about Florida till like halfway through. So, but I probably didn't come off my best in that one.
Little clash of ideas.
I don't know. Kinda. How about this? I don't do well with doomerism. I can't vibe with that. I just can't sit by and let someone tell me the world's ending a million different ways and how everything's futile and everything's fucked and everyone's corrupt. I just can't vibe with that. I gotta speak up. And I think, you might see some of that in the interview where I'd rather list off solutions than problems. I'd rather point things out to people than convince them there's no solutions, or, and some people think the only solution is to like make all the evil people disappear.
Right.
Then that's it. We just kill all the evil people, we execute them, and then it's done. Then we won. I don't see it that way. I think it's more complicated than that. But it was a good show. It was a very good show. But we don't even talk about Florida till like halfway through. So
Okay.
Cool. Keep an eye out for that. Are you drinking out of a plastic water bottle, bro? What the hell's wrong with you?
Juan, you wish you had branded water. You wish you had branded spring water.
Don't
Okay.
test me, bro. A good luck store. I'm gonna be doing an interview with the owner of that store. I don't know his name.
Mhm.
I'll be doing an episode Monday, so should be good.
Shout out Chungus.
Shout out Chungus. So cool. It was good. Fun. It was a pleasure meeting you, Merlin.
You too, Juan. Back at you, man.
Even though I thought you were a Scotland guy with an accent for some reason. Maybe you look like somebody I've seen that has an accent. Maybe it's that. I don't know. Maybe I'm confusing you with somebody else.
Could be. I've got some Scottish ancestry for sure.
Awesome.
Yep.
All right, guys. Everyone, have a good night. See you on Saturday back here with Merlin. Then Thursday again with Juan.
Shall yeah.
Yeah.
Peace, everyone. Thanks for staying up with us. Some crackhead's getting hauled off in a
That's your
ambulance.
employee, dude. Go get him. Go get him back. He
This
works at the
slave
store.
escaped.
I don't know if you can see the lights. I don't know if you can see the lights flashing. Here. I don't know
Go
if
bail
you
him
can see
out,
the
dude.
lights flashing on me.
He
How do
works
we-
for you.
See that? Here, watch.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's an ambulance.
Yeah.
Ambulance.
It's for that neckbeard you destroyed earlier. They're picking him up. You
Yeah.
guys want to see a dead body?
That's funny. For real. Someone come scrape Carl up off the pavement. Someone. Yeah.
Yeah, we learned tonight that Longo really fucking hates pagans. Like,
Yeah, and neckbeards. Absolutely.
Yeah.
not mild opinions.
All
Yeah.
right. We'll see you guys next week then.
Peace.
Peace.
Later.